Welcome everybody to Everyday Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. This is your good friend Mr. BDA, and alongside with me as always my co-host, the one the only King, Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Fellas, it's another edition of the Open Phone Lines Friday. And when I mean open phone lines, I mean all types of lines of communication. We've got the chat open, obviously. We've got a StreamYard link, which I already put in the description. We got the phone lines. As you can see, the phone number is right in there as well. I'm actually going to activate it so you can see it on the screen right now. There you go. Call in. As you can see in the left middle portion of your screen. Yes, Open Phone Lines Fridays. It's what it's all about. It's establishing a line of communication with you guys. You call in, you tell us what you want to talk about, what you think. Of course, the starter subject for this evening's episode is the lightweight division, and specifically Teofimo Lopez Lomachenko. Teofimo is leading the pack after his upset win over Vasily Lomachenko. We garnered him Fighter of the Year accolades, but now some shenanigans are already starting. Some shenanigans are already starting with these lightweights. So I want to hear about what your opinions, fellas. What you think about this new lightweight generation. Are we going to see the fights that we want to see? Is it all fluff? Is it all hype? Did we just all of a sudden forget that we are in the sport of boxing, where things seldom work out? I mean, they take a little. Generally they work out the way we want them to, but they take a little time. So that's what I want to hear from you, fellas. Now, before we get down to that, let's get the business out of the way, guys. If you want to keep the gravy train rolling, don't forget you can donate via the Super Chat feature. Send a couple of shekels our way. You can also do it via the Patreon page or the PayPal page. Patreon, it's you just read the comments there or mission statement, and you should have a good idea of what it is that we're going for. Don't forget also the merch store. Hold on a second. Where are they? All right, I don't. Okay, here it is. Yeah, the merch, the BDA merch. You want to hit your relatives and friends with the latest trends, the latest designs. Show them you're a boxing fan. Why don't you have a look at the BDA store and get a gander. Take a gander at some of the merchandise that we have there. High quality, high style, high octane for all your boxing needs. All right. So fellas, again, StreamYard link in the, chat room. So come on in. If you're outside of North America, use the StreamYard link. If you're within North America, Canada, United States, call in. Much better. We prefer calls. So there you have it. I'm putting the StreamYard link again. I'm actually going to put it in the description as well. Why not? So everybody can see it right there. I'm going to put that phone number as well. Should have done that before. But hey, listen. It is what it is. Now, Bucho, actually, can you put the phone number on the description, please? And I'll get people started here on what's going on. All right. Now, I'm thinking here, I don't know if you guys saw I think most people already saw it, where Ryan Garcia was on Mike Tyson's podcast. He was talking about, he was talking a lot, selling himself. Then all of a sudden they got Tank Davis on the phone. They started talking smack, and chaos and pandemonium ensued. And makes you think, holy crikey, it's they're finally gonna fight. These two guys are gonna fight. Oh, by the way, hold on a second. Before I get started here, I forgot to give a shout out to everybody. I'm so excited about this tonight's subject that I overlook that you guys are here. Shout out to Friendly Fire, Superior Justice Enterprises, Wayne Hennessy, MMA Champ, Adam UK, Seamus Carey. Shout out to Seamus, 852 Sully, Trill Bollins, SSB 28, Rich Couric, Brandon White, shout out to Brandon. DJ N1, shout out to DJ N1. Jay, James Thornton, Lobito, aka Gonzalo in the house as well. Andres Hernandez, shout out to Andres Hernandez. And many more people to come, I'm sure. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Yeah, listen, I'm excited like everybody else. I got excited when I started seeing all these lightweights with Ryan Garcia's latest victory. We all got very excited about that. Teofimo Lopez upsetting Lomachenko. Lomachenko still there. Tank Davis possibly making a move up to 135 again, staying there and fight Ryan Garcia. Then you got the Devin Haney, who a certain demographic always talks about. And, there's potential with him too. Why not? Although he's not as exciting as the other guys, but nevertheless could prove to be the best. And so all of a sudden I said, Bucho, I forgot. Are we did we shift towards another sport, or are we still in boxing where there's always monkey wrenches thrown into the works And just to make it the fight that boxing fans want, all of a sudden, all of a sudden, it takes 6 months to negotiate, just to negotiate the first couple of pages of the contract. I mean, am I wrong
Well,
in being a little bit skeptical here about these fights happening?
yeah, no, they're not wrong. Obviously, no, yeah, but I don't know. Somehow there's a sense of optimism lately. Maybe because of COVID. Remember, we started getting a lot of fights after COVID, fights that we actually wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and some were claiming, well, the reason why we're getting these fights made is because of COVID. They've been losing a lot of money. Everybody, the whole sport of boxing has been losing money. And so now they understand that, you know what? You can't marinate forever. Shit's going to hit the fan at some point. And, just make the money right now. Don't wait for tomorrow.
That's right. That's right. And hopefully that's.
You never know what can happen, man. You never. And we've been saying this forever. How many times have we been waiting for a fight, a mega fight to take place? And because these guys are marinating the fight, all of a sudden one of them loses.
Exactly. Yeah, it happens too often, unfortunately. Now, also, look, people often talk about there's a defeatist attitude when it comes to boxing. Like, this is boxing. The fights we want never get made. I disagree. We did get Canelo Golovkin. We got Tyson Fury Wilder, which was I know at the beginning Wilder thought it was going to be a easy fight, but it was a big event. We got Teofimo versus Lomachenko. We've got Canelo, after he beat Golovkin in the rematch, he did take on Daniel Jacobs, which was the next guy in line. And so we're getting big fights. Naoya Inoue and the Super Six. The World Boxing tournaments, man, series tournaments, they really help boxing out a lot because they made a lot of the fights we want to see happening. Now, of course, that's not to say we get all the fights we want, but they do happen. Now, unfortunately, with the lightweights, that's a whole other subject right there. Because there's a lot of different promotional entities. Lomachenko's with whoever he's with, right? With Top Rank, I should say. And Teofimo Lopez as well. So that seems to be the fight to make. A rematch seems easy to make, but for some reason, there's a lot of static. That's what we want to talk about as well tonight. Then you also have Devin Haney, who's with Matchroom. So that's a different promotional entity than Top Rank, obviously. Then you got Tank Davis, who's with the PBC. Then you got Ryan Garcia, who's with De La Hoya. Although you assume that the Zone, De La Hoya, and Matchroom can get together and make easy fights. But the fact remains, there's a lot of promotional divisions in place, which are going to make these fights a little difficult to make. A little difficult. So my question is then, we're already starting to see some static here because we all see the potential. We see the upside with this division, but we also see, and this is according to the latest Boxing Scene article, well, from a couple of days ago, rather, where Teofimo Lopez came out saying, fuck the Lomachenko rematch. He was being a dick to everybody. Now I'm going to be a dick to him. He says, because I'm going to be a dick, he told Fight Hub. Everybody was being a dick to me and my father. Nasty conduct aside, Lopez argued that if Lomachenko really wanted a rematch, he would have inserted what in the clause. That's what a lot of people say. Then the article goes on to say that Lomachenko was told, hey, look, by Lopez's father, why do you need a contract? So sort of like guarded him into it. Now, did Lomachenko get played? Should he have insisted on a rematch clause? Perhaps, perhaps not. The point is, the fight was close. Lomachenko did make some concessions. This was what other people are saying. He made some concessions, so why not see a rematch? Why isn't Teofimo Lopez willing to? So that's the question of the night, everybody. So everybody that's going to call in or who's going to be dropping by, why isn't this rematch happening? Or why isn't it signed already? Why is Teofimo Lopez against the contract, against the rematch?
Why doesn't he just take the fight against Lomachenko? Let's just put it that way. Why doesn't he just take the fight? Now he's saying, because Lomachenko didn't put a rematch clause in there. By the way, like you said, like Teofimo's father told Lomachenko, why do you have a rematch clause in there?
Yeah, allegedly. Huh? That's Lomachenko's version.
Well, Lomachenko's saying that I wouldn't be. Yeah. Well, you guys let me know if you thinks this is believable or not. So yeah, Teofimo Lopez Sr. told Lomachenko, why do you have a rematch clause in there? Are you not confident enough? And so Lomachenko said, take it out. I don't need it, right? But then we had the fight, and like Mr. BDA said, it was a close fight. People were saying it was a whooping or something. They're crazy, man. I still had Teofimo Lopez winning, but it deserves a rematch. This fight deserves a rematch. I don't see the problem. I don't know why Teofimo's running away at this point, because Just take the fight. If you beat him easily, then beat him again.
Well, that's one point of view, and that's why I want to hear from everybody out there. Phone
Unless
lines
he's
are
fighting Tank
open.
Davis or something next, which I don't think so.
Right. Well, listen, phone lines are open. Boxing StreamYard link in the description as well. Why isn't this fight happening? So, is what the basic question I'm also trying to get out there is: are we already starting to see some diva behavior from the top lightweights? Is this what we can expect from this new class of supposed lightweight warriors? All right. Now I see we already got a phone call here coming in, so let's take it right away. Let's go to 954. 954, you're on the air. 954, what's on your mind?
Hey, just that. I think Lomachenko deserves a rematch, just given his history. And it's good for money. It makes sense for Teofimo. I don't know why he's not taking it outside of the fact that maybe he knows that he was at an advantage. Maybe due to the injury. And I know a lot of people gonna dismiss that. It's just, it's hard to understand how everybody views boxing when a lot of the truth is before our eyes, but there's what we see, what is portrayed from other people. It's like we're not all seeing the same events unfold before our eyes. I think Lomachenko should have had an immediate rematch as soon as he was ready, and Teofimo could prove to everybody that we were wrong, and he's just a better fighter. And that may be the case, but why not just seal the deal?
Yeah, that's a great point, caller. Now, one of the things that Teofimo Lopez said in the article here, or from his interview rather, was that the Lomachenko camp was constantly disrespecting him and his father. I'm don't usually follow these backstage shenanigans, but are you aware of any disrespect that went from Lomachenko's way over to Lopez's camp, or am I missing something here?
No, I think if anything, the opposite was true. However, we're talking about two different cultures entirely, two different nations' upbringing, characters, the way that they, govern themselves. And so what could be just Loma being Loma could be taken as disrespect from somebody, from an urban hood in America. So it could be that Loma was being disrespectful. I don't think it's relevant at the level that these boxers and at the level of professional that these guys are. I don't think that's relevant. I think that there may. Pardon me if I'm wrong. It seems like Loma's the best fight for Teofimo right now. That can be argued. I haven't really thought that through. But I don't think that's relevant. I think Teofimo, if it is the takeover, and that's why I clicked on the video right away, the takeover or what? Because go ahead and finish what you're doing. But to answer your question, maybe. But if anything, the opposite is true.
Exactly. Well, that's a good point there, man. Now, I'm going to ask you, as a boxing fan, which fight would you rather see next, though, between all these lightweights? Because the moment is hot right now. Everything's clicking with these guys. Which is the fight that you would want to see the most between these four guys?
Man, this division is lit, and there's a lot of good fights. Listen, I don't want to see anybody duck anybody. I want to see the biggest fights happen now. I think Teofimo and Loma should be next. I think Ryan Garcia should get Tank or Devin Haney, and then they should go ahead and have at it. That'll take 2 years to sort itself out. That'll really be a good 2 years for boxing. Correct me if I'm wrong. Pardon me. I just off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm. No, it would. It would. I mean, like, these things take time, Like, usually before a fight even takes place, they're already negotiating for the next one. The people behind the scenes. So yeah, it takes time, man, for sure.
Yeah, but I like what's going on. But this, as far as like Teofimo saying like, no, I'm just gonna do that because they were doing that to me. Like, I mean, it kind of leaves a sour taste in my mouth because I'm a boxing fan and we pay thousands of dollars. Like a true boxing fan, at the end of the day, you look at your year and the money you spent on pay-per-view and subscriptions, it adds up. You need to put your emotions aside and understand you're a professional. I'm not the only one who's paying thousands of dollars a year on boxing. There's a
That's
lot
right.
of people, probably a lot of people listening who say, I don't care about what you think. You need to put your emotions aside. We're professionals. We pay for you guys to do this, you know. And now, no disrespect to the boxers. You know, I got 2 kids and they both train, and it's you know, they're putting their lives at risk for us. But at the same time, you know, we're paying our hard-earned money to see these fights. I don't want to hear that. You know, I'm just doing it because they did it to me or none of that beef stuff. We would rather have the I'll prove it with my fist. If that's what we're doing, let's have a rematch, and then I'll show you. So yeah.
That's a great point, caller. Great point. Thank you for calling in, man. And we'll catch you on the next one. All right, man?
Thank you for having me. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Take it easy, man. That's a good point. I mean, that seems to be call in. First of all, people call in. The phone number's right there in the middle left-hand portion of your screen. We got the StreamYard link open as well. So if you guys want to call in, either way, phone call or StreamYard, and tell us what you think about this new development. Why doesn't Teofimo want to fight Lomachenko? Shouldn't he be obligated to fight him? You tell us. I want to hear from all people's all opinions. So go ahead and do that. But yeah, it does. By the way, we got Gonzalo and Recognize the Matrix on the Discord. It does seem to me like a little bit of a petty reason. Like, well, he was being a dick to me, so let me forego this big payday that I have and this unfinished business and not fight him. Guys, what do you think about that?
Did Lomachenko give him a hard time for a fight? Really?
If I remember correctly, he actually accommodated him for giving a percentage of his personal.
I don't want to make too much of a big deal out of it. Lopez's self right now. I wouldn't say he's ducking just yet, but maybe he's looking for a bigger payday. In other words, if they're willing to give a certain amount of money, he's willing to fight Lomachenko again. But with that being said, I mean, all that stuff that he gave him a hard time, like, dude, you're fucking 22, 23 years old. What are you talking about? He gave you a hard time to fight. Like, you gotta fight with him pretty quick in your career. So, I mean, I would like to see him return the favor, and I'll give him a great shot to beat Lomachenko again.
Gonzalo, what do you think about all that?
I think it's high risk, low reward. Not saying that he shouldn't do that to clear up any controversy, which I don't think there was, but considering that Lomachenko had an injury, the whole thing about them taking it out of the clause where there was a rematch in place. I mean, yeah, he should run it back, but there might be bigger fish to fry. And what I mean by that, not that Lomachenko isn't the second best or the best. It's just we know that in boxing, like, there's bigger names, and it doesn't mean that actually equals that they're more talented, because Lomachenko didn't do great pay-per-view sales like in his last few fights or throughout the course of his short career. And there's, like, right now these superstars in the making that, I mean, this doesn't necessarily mean that they're better skilled, but they just could command bigger paydays. So I'm kind of like split down the middle. Yeah, he should take the rematch, but how much more credit would he get beating a guy that he just beat to the mainstream audience than the guy that garners more attention, like the Ryan Garcias and the Hades and the Gervonta Davises of the world, which to, like, not the hardcore, but to other, like, fans, it might bring in more and more revenue. And that's why I say this high risk, low reward. But he should take it for the sake of, to prove that, he is a great fighter. But other than that, that's what I think. Kind of split down the middle.
I feel like the media, this is the way they see it. Well, Teofimo Lopez won the fight. Lomachenko lost. Now Lomachenko has to, like, retire or something and disappear. And then now we just focus on Teofimo Lopez and what he does next. Like, I don't understand. Like, it was a close fight. Lomachenko still, he deserves a rematch, what I'm trying to say. But, like, again, the media, they're like, I don't know, man. I feel like they just dismiss everything Lomachenko did. And, like, now it's time for him to disappear. That's not just the way I feel. I don't know what you guys think.
Fellas, don't forget to call
Nobody's mentioning a rematch. Nobody's saying anything. It's kind of
always been like that with the Eastern Europeans, Bucho.
Well, listen, fellas, don't forget
Same thing happened to Sergey. Same thing happened to Triple G, and they're trying to do the same thing at Usyk.
Real quick, guys. Real quick. Don't forget, people out there to call in. Phone numbers right there in the middle left-hand portion of your screen. I got the StreamYard link in here as well. I posted it on the description and keep posting it in the chat. So let us know what you guys think. Why isn't this fight happening yet? Why aren't they talking about a rematch? Is this just a marketing ploy from Teofimo to play hardball and get more money? Listen, at the end of the day, this ain't a good look, man. Because Teofimo Lopez is leading the pack with the best win from the lightweights, and he's already starting, making things hard. He was already making it hard before the Lomachenko fight, before during the ensuing time and during the summer and all that. Now we got this. Ryan Garcia is saying he wants to beat Tank Davis. He's talking to him via the phone on Mike Tyson's podcast. But the main thing is these fights have to happen. Yeah, the hype's nice and the fluff and all that. That's nice to look at, but I'm interested in the fights happening, and it seems now, like, based on what some of these guys are saying, it seems like the best don't want to fight the best. Now, with Lomachenko Lopez, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but I've seen fights that were less competitive get immediate rematches, like Pacquiao versus Morales. I mean, I think Pacquiao was competitive in the fight, but it was clear Morales won, and they still did a rematch not that long after. Like, the first fight was in March 2005. The second one happened in early 2006. Why isn't this fight deserving of a rematch? I don't understand. Why doesn't Lopez want it? Go ahead.
If I come out right now and I say that Ryan Garcia is the better win Teofimo did, Lomachenko, all things considered, and I have a very good argument for that. I'm going to get attacked by all the fanboys, right? Called names, that other stuff. But what is the media telling us by saying that Lomachenko is irrelevant? Aren't they completely discrediting Teofimo? It's like beating nobody, basically, and he barely beat a nobody that was injured and tiny. Like, if the guy's irrelevant but losing a close fight to a bigger guy while injured, then how great of a win is that, really? What are they saying?
Yeah, that makes no sense. I was rewatching some video because I was looking for a specific video on YouTube, and I found a video where Teofimo Lopez Sr. was saying Lomachenko's going to be easy. He's nobody. Well, first of all, it wasn't easy. Second of all, why would you want to spend your time fighting a nobody? I mean, I know it's trash talk. Look, I'm not an idiot. I'm not taking it literally, but everything that's been said here in the fight and everything that happened during the fight indicates that it was a close fight. Lomachenko was at one point the pound for pound best in the world. Why not make that rematch? I mean, it's not like Lopez knocked him. A lot of people, let's face it, a lot of people that were picking Lopez to win were picking him by knockout. And the people that were picking Lomachenko to win.
Right. It was a tactical fight at the end of the day also. All these people saying that I got it right. Nobody got it right. If you were claiming that there was going to be a stoppage, then you got it wrong.
Exactly.
Without your prediction. So
this
deserves a rematch.
This is the thing that
it's difficult to predict. Go ahead.
Yeah, like, this is the thing that gets me, and it helps you explain how fake this whole pound for pound thing is, right? Most people going into the fight said that Loma was at least top 3, right? Maybe number 1. And they picked Teofimo to beat him, right? By knockout. And the fight ends. It's a very close competitive fight. So Teo disappoints. And then they put him on the pound for pound list. And they demote Lomachenko. Like, hold on a minute. You said Lomachenko was pound for pound number 3. But you, before going into the fight, you were saying that Teofimo was going to knock him out, meaning that you think Teofimo is better than Lomachenko. So how do you demote Lomachenko when he proved you wrong, and how do you promote Teofimo when he's not as good as you thought he was going into the fight? Like, the whole thing just doesn't make any sense. How do you even put him on the pound for pound list when you said he was going to knock him out, and he failed to do that? He almost got knocked out himself. So you overrated the guy, and you're underrating Lomachenko. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, man, but that's why I'm trying to get people That's why I'm trying to get people to call in and let us know what's going on here. Like, do you guys think this fight deserves a rematch? Do you think it doesn't? If not, why? Yeah, well, I want people to break it down.
Ask people if they can provide arguments as to why this fight should not happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. Well, you know what? Okay, one of the main ones that I'm seeing here on the chat is that Teofimo Lopez has bigger fish to fry. Now, Gonzalo made a good point that he could make more money by fighting Garcia, potentially, if it's marketed properly, and if they each get one more good performance where they look sensational, they knock some guy out, and then they put him together. But at the same time, after Garcia, what's the other big fish to fry? Haney? Tank Davis? Like, I don't see any other big fish.
Kambosos?
Yeah,
Kambosos. How is Kambosos a bigger fish to fry? That doesn't make any sense. Now, if he had a fight signed with some of these guys, or it was likely that these fights were to happen, then we can talk about something. But the way boxing works right now, and we all know this, you know those fights are going to be extremely difficult to make. So to say that a promise of a fantasy fight against one of the four horsemen is a bigger fish to fry than an easy Lomachenko rematch, it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like none of this makes any sense.
Well,
Well, I
look,
mean,
There's the
Teofimo
whole
Lopez straight up
controversy.
saying he doesn't want to fight, though. Right? He said he doesn't deserve a rematch. They didn't treat his father properly
All right,
for.
that's just looking for her. That's just looking for excuses to not fight a man. Like again, I'm not gonna over exaggerate because anything can change, right? I think he might be bargaining for more money. We'll see, we'll see. But you're gonna
Yeah.
make that excuse. Oh, you need to treat my father right. Like, listen, you're a weirdo because you were like crying and all that shit. Then next thing you know, your face turns serious when Lomachenko was looking at you. Like you're just trying to play to the scene, basically. You know, that's what he's trying to do. But like that's a dumb excuse.
I agree. I agree with recognize. We gotta wait and see what happens for sure before we
Hey,
could
can
make. But
did
to me, it
Lomachenko?
sounds like the way I hear that statement, the way I interpret it is, I don't want to fight him because he's coming to win. He's not gonna lie down for me. He's not gonna be a good little puppy. He's not gonna kiss my ass. He's gonna present the challenge. That's why I don't want to fight him. That's the dumbest shit ever.
hey, by the way,
And
we
that could be
got
That's
that.
the
That could
reason.
be it too.
Moneyman in the StreamYard. Hey, where's Bottles? Did you talk to
Yeah, what
Bottles
up? What
yet?
up? What up?
Hey, Moneyman, did you talk to Bottles yet, or did he give you the green light?
Nah, I seen the call in the stream, hit the stream line, so I clicked in.
Well, thank you for coming in, man. Listen, we're talking the lightweight division. People are excited for it, and I don't want to be a doom and gloom type of guy, but I want to see the best fight the best. But this being boxing, we never know if we're gonna get the fights we want. Teofimo Lopez is already saying he doesn't want to rematch Lomachenko, so things are starting to get a little sketchy. All of a sudden, what's your opinion on all this, money man?
I personally feel like it would be a good fight for him to take. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have a problem with the rematch, but at the same time, I do look at it like he got bigger challenges. Like if we just talking about tougher fights for TF, I think he has tougher fights out there for him. As far as Lomachenko goes in a rematch, hey, I'm all for it if they make it. I'll watch it again. But are y'all gonna sit up here and really put all the blame on Lomachenko injury? Like that man did not choose to fight for 6 rounds, and he did not fight for no reason. He didn't fight because for a shorter man to make up that range with a young, quick guy with power like Tio was very dangerous. So I ain't big on seeing that again because I seen him testy not wanting to go in there in the first few rounds. So once the fight gets started and Tio gets a little tired, yeah, Lomachenko gonna start, doing Lomachenko. But he can't if he jump in there in them first 6 rounds with that young boy, man, he gonna get hit with something he don't want to get hit with. The reason why he didn't fight for the first 6 rounds of the last fight.
Potentially, man, potentially. But then again, like I mentioned, the example of Morales Pacquiao won. A lot of people were saying, why see a rematch? Or Israel Vasquez, Rafael Marquez won them. Rafael Marquez was beating him up in there. People were saying, like, why do we need to see a rematch? And then, boom, what happened with both those fights? The other guys came back and stopped the winner of the first fight. But also, Money Man, I'm curious, what are some of these other bigger challenges that you see for Teofimo Lopez down the line?
I definitely think Tio would rather fight Lomachenko again than to go into a match with Devin Haney. I don't think he wants no chess match style, something where it's gonna be real boxing, where you got a defensive guy who's gonna try to take away your best right hand. Which we know Devin is gonna look at you, see what you do, and try to take that away, and then which makes it, what they call a bore fest. So I don't think Tio want no parts of that. You can have all the power in the world if you can't hit that man. We see with Mayweather, it's a whole different fight now. So Tio I think he would rather say fuck it, fight Lomachenko in a rematch than to go try to be undisputed. So for me personally, and I agree with my man who was just up here too, calling him a weirdo because all during that Loma press conference, I was looking at Tio like, yo, this dude got some emotional issues, like him and his daddy fighting and crying and like. So I definitely agree, but I think Tio also recognized like, Devin, real tough fight. Tio, I mean Lomachenko, at least I got real advantages. I got reach, I got height, I got youth, I got speed. He ain't got them advantages. When you either talk anybody at 140 who a top competitor, he ain't got those advantages. Devin Haney, he ain't got those advantages. So as a fighter, no, I don't think he want to take those tougher fights. I
Well,
think he would rather
Moneyman,
fight
Moneyman,
Lomachenko.
let me ask you, like, who are you picking in that fight between Haney and Lopez right now? Like, if it happened right now. Yeah.
Right now, I would take Devin in a
Oh,
yeah, I would take that. I don't see T.O. landing clean punches on Devin. Not like all those crazy power punches that we seen him land. Like I don't see that. I don't see that with Devin. When you get somebody in there who got a real jab, real defensive skills, real footwork, those. And did you see what T.O. looked? You know another reason why T.O. didn't like about Lomachenko though, because
the
when
jab.
he got tired and Loma started landing, did you see how his feet was like stuck in place and he was taking 3-4 punches at a time?
That's a good point.
No,
That is a good point. Yeah.
Well,
I definitely don't think he want to go in there with nobody just as long as him. Maybe not as strong, but definitely as skillful and quicker or just as quick. I don't think that's a bad matchup.
well, let me get the
Yeah, but
panelists in on
should
this.
Devin Haney get the credit if he's on the back foot and Teofimo's being the aggressor? And it kind of turns out to where they're landing the same equal amount of punches, but Teofimo's are harder. I wouldn't give Devin Haney the fight if they're kind of equal on punch count. Hell no. Teofimo hit harder.
Haney will beat Teofimo Lopez, but I don't see how you guys don't see how the caller just contradicted himself. I mean, on the one hand, he's saying Teofimo got all these options, and on the other hand, he's saying he's not trying to fight anybody. Like, which is it?
You said on one hand is what you kind of broke in on my end.
He said,
No, you're saying he's got all these options, right? But then you're saying he doesn't want to fight someone like Devin Haney, so that's not an option. So what other option does he have?
No, I'm saying he has options that I think he's being aware he doesn't want to fight those harder fights. I think he's searching right now for like, okay, which gonna be the one? Like he would love to get that Ryan Garcia. He would love that one. I think that's the fight that he would love to try to take from Tank or take from Devin. He would rather have that because matchup wise, I think he thinks that's easier. But Lomachenko is not going to be an easy fight in a rematch for him neither because he done seen him before. And being that Loma got so much skill, you know, anytime a skill fighter see a fighter a second time, they do a little better. So I just think T.O. he got the belts and he about to do whatever he can to hold on to him.
You know what? I agree with you fellas too. Go ahead, Precise.
No, I was just gonna say, like, and don't kill me for it, but I think Nakatani deserves a rematch too. Like Teofimo got
Definitely.
Nakatani and
I
Loma
agree.
problems. I don't know why we even talking about all these other guys that are not really trying to fight him, in my opinion, not just yet, because those are the type of fights you build, and then those are big fights potentially. So in the meantime, you know, give Nakatani a rematch. Let's see if you could beat him legitimately. Nakatani just proved that, you know, he's top notch. Well, he's a good fighter, right? He just proved himself. He just put his name out there. Give him a rematch. Give Loma a rematch, and you know, then maybe by then they'll be ready to fight you. I don't know.
But how are you one fight away from undisputed and don't want it? Like that's what I like. I could see if like it was like a big problem. Like you know, Eddie and his own shit, they do business with Bob. So it's like I don't understand. Like why wouldn't you go get that belt?
Well, caller,
he is undisputed.
You think that it's gonna be
he
hard
is undisputed.
to get.
Well, caller, one of the things we focus here on this show is the fact that most of us don't care about titles. We don't give a lot of credence to them. They've been corrupt and the ratings have been manipulated for a long time. So whether one guy has a belt or not doesn't necessarily make them a good fighter. In my mind, Lopez is the best lightweight in the world. Well, I mean, in my mind, he on paper, on my mind, in the ring, he's the best lightweight in the world. He proved it against Lomachenko the first fight, but he still needs to fight. Look, listen, I agree with you to a certain extent, guys, about the Nakatani fight, or Nakatomi, whatever his name was, because when it comes to Devin Haney, because Devin Haney, I don't think he's quite ready for Lopez. I do agree with Gonzalo to a certain extent that if they get into a fight right now, I think Haney lacks a little seasoning, and he's probably got Lopez probably going to be giving more credit by the judges because he's going to have that wow factor with his punches, whereas Haney might not have that much pop behind him. But, and I keep saying this, that Devin Haney jab and like Moneyman also alluded to, the defense. If he can improve on that defense and become a defensive marvel, and then keep sticking that jab in Lopez's face. Think about it. What was the thing that troubled Lopez the most in the fights where he's almost lost or had difficulty? A jab, right? Nakatani gave him a hard time with the jab. Lomachenko gave him a hard time with the jab. And what was the other guy that Tattle gave him a little bit of trouble with the jab as well. So it's a jab that's going to give him trouble, and that's what Devin Haney has the most. That's his best weapon. It's a nice.
But see, that's where
jab.
I kind of like with the Loma fight. It's like, whatever. Because if Loma had more physical talents, then that fight Loma would have whooped him probably. Loma would have whooped him. Any kind of way Loma didn't have the reach problem against Tio, he would have been in there pouncing in and out on him. But it was too much ground and distance to try to make up with that young boy in them early rounds. That's a lot of risk. Like, everybody know he hit hard. So it's like, yeah, he couldn't just take them chances like that.
Well, listen, most of us knew going into the fight, that Lopez-Lomachenko fight, that Lomachenko was going to start slowly because Lopez was going to be very explosive early on. It seems like maybe even Lomachenko underestimated Lopez's firepower. By the way, hold on a second. We got somebody else on the stream here. We got Kelmer.
Salute, bro.
How you doing, man?
Oh, no, good, and you?
I'm doing fantastic here, man. Listen, we're talking about Lopez, Lomachenko, the lightweights. A lot of hype now after Ryan Garcia won. There's a lot of hope in the lightweight division, but then there's also the drama that comes with it. Now, Lopez saying he's not really interested in the Lomachenko rematch. So the question is, are we going to start seeing this type of attitude from the lightweights? Are we going to see boxing's never-ending story of fights being over-marinated happen? What's your opinion on that?
To be honest, I would like a rematch. And if there was a rematch though, and Lopez wins, wouldn't that injury excuse, like, wouldn't they use it again though? Like, oh, I just recovered from an injury, that's why I lost. You know, what do you think?
I don't know, but I mean, I want to see the rematch happen. I agree with that, but I don't know what would happen afterwards. I mean, a fucking flying.
I don't think that would work.
Beat a guy when you beat somebody. It doesn't change. It doesn't matter when the guy comes back and says, "Look, I had a shoulder injury. I had this." You still beat him. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. So Teofimo was to beat him again, and let's say Lomachenko says, "Well, I came off shoulder surgery." That's really not Teofimo's problem.
Yeah, and already people aren't giving much credence to Lomachenko's fucking. Mentioning, because has he mentioned, by the way, the shoulder, or was it his promoters that mentioned it after the fight?
I think it was his team.
Okay, so he hasn't come out and said that he hasn't come out personally since the October loss and said, "Hey, listen, my shoulder." He has.
Also, Teofimo had a foot injury, and he was suspended from the commissioner of Nevada as well.
Right.
So I don't know.
Then that's even more recent because neither guy was 100%. And here's the thing: most people aren't giving Lomachenko a pass with that whole shoulder thing. So I don't think people are. I think people are gonna lambaste him even more if he does it. But in order for him to have a chance to make that excuse, they have to fight again. And that's the other thing: is why aren't they fighting again? It was a close fight, competitive fight.
Did you see a whooping? Is the question. How did you see the fight?
The second fight and the first fight. I mean. I think if Loma would engage, I thought we would be seeing a knockout by Teofimo. I think he had too much respect for him. I think that's what happened.
So, Kelmer, you don't want to see a rematch?
No, I do, but to be honest, though, this is on Loma. He should have just signed a rematch clause just in case. I mean, this is where he really dropped the ball.
Apparently, he says.
I get that, man. I get that, but at the same time, it's aren't we into men who are very honorable people? Like, okay, to make this fight happen.
No.
No. Go ahead.
Man, the Coomers. I'm not talking about the caller, but the Coomers are lost, man. It's a lost generation. They got no souls. Look, rematch clauses are fucking bitch, man. It's like two big name guys get in the ring and one destroys the other guy, and the fucking guy got a rematch clause, and we got to go sit through that shit again. Like, for what?
Wilder Fury?
Yeah. I thought we didn't like rematch clauses, right? And then all of a sudden we like Man, like pick a fucking have a standard. And I'm not talking to the caller. I'm just saying, fucking stick to a standard. Be an honorable and speak the truth. You know what I mean? Because in this situation, no rematch clauses. That's bitch made. And another situation, he should have had a rematch clause. And again, I'm not talking about the caller because I don't know his stance. But in general, it seems like people just flip flop. You know.
Flip flop. They switch stances.
Yeah,
The fight
why are
shouldn't be
people?
that hard to make because they're with the same promotional company now. Teofimo Lopez got about another year left in the division. I think that's about it, man. He been saying that a year ago that he was ready to move up.
Well, yeah, but then there's other people saying that supposedly he's having no trouble making the weight, and he seems to want to stick around to
It's
135 for the
an
moment. So I don't.
VDA, you know
Yeah,
what it is?
what was that?
It's an excuse. It's an excuse,
Oh,
right?
I
Like,
don't know about that.
and I'm not trying to create a conspiracy, right? But it's like, okay, look, if I do get the Teofimo fight and I make it close and I win, I always have that option where I don't have to fight him again because I can't make the weight.
But
You
but
know,
but but,
and
but
it could be
recognize.
true.
But recognize. Think about it. I mean, there's no conspiracy really. One guy's saying, "Hey, let's do a rematch." The other guy's saying, "Nah, no rematch clause."
Yeah.
So what's? I mean, what does
And
that say about one
the
guy? I mean,
excuse would be, and the excuse BDA would be, I can't make 135. You know, I'll be interested in a rematch if he comes up to 140, maybe. You know what
but
I'm
here's
saying?
my question. Here's my question. If he can't make 135, let's say he says he can make 135. Why is he taking on a mandatory? Like, shouldn't he last fight at 135 be a bit?
That's
I
my
guess.
point. Yeah.
Right.
That's
The
what
Yeah.
guy's a
Something.
liar.
Yeah.
Like, let's just keep it real. The guy's full of shit. He's
Oh,
lied
come
to the
on.
fans so many times.
Definitely. Teo
What do
full
you
of
mean?
shit.
Come on.
I'm saying, come on. I'm gonna
He is
defend
a
the guy.
fucking liar, man. Teofimo
From
said
what
that
I
this is
hear
my.
though, that Cambosos fight, he's supposed to make good money. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I heard.
Well, but hold on, hold on. I want to hear about this. How is he a liar? Precise. How is Teofimo Lopez a
Because
liar?
he said Lomachenko, the fight has to happen now. That's going to be my last fight. All the way in the lead up to that fight, 2 years he was
Correct.
chasing him around, saying, I can't make the weight anymore. We got to make this fight now. And as soon as I beat him, I'm going to move up. And now he's taking mandatory. The guy's a liar. Okay, it is what it is, and he's a hypocrite. So, when he says, look, and I hope I'm wrong, but when he says, "Oh, I'm going to have 3 fights this year, and I'm not going to cherry pick," to me that means he's going to be cherry picking. First of all, he's not going to have 3 fights this year, and he will be cherry. I don't have a problem
Well,
with the Cambosos fight, but let's not act like it's a good fight for starters. And secondly, let's not act like he had to take this fight right away. Cambosos just became the Mando. He can fight. He doesn't have to fight him right now, but let him get his money. Let him get his defense. I don't got a problem with the fight, but you know, we're acting like he's. This is my biggest problem. We're acting like he's got all these fights lined up when the only fight that's a sure deal is the Lomachenko fight and the Cambosos fight. That's the only thing that we could honestly say is there for him right now. So why are we talking about all these? It's okay to talk about these fantasy fights, but all this weight on these fantasy fights that are just a fucking figment of our imagination right now.
Because they're
yeah.
calling each
Yeah,
other on social media.
Can I
Ryan
say
Yeah, they
something
Garcia is
about the
going
call
to
each
move
other.
140
up to
thing?
40.
Hold on, fellas, hold on. Let me get Uncle Pete in here. Uncle Pete, are you there?
What's up, fellas? How
How
are
you
you?
doing, man? Hey, listen, chips for everybody. Now that everybody's here, chips on the house.
Fine.
Pete, what's your opinion on? I mean, we're talking about the lightweights. Everybody's excited about them, but now it seems like some of the fights aren't going to get made because Teofimo Lopez is already insisting on not giving Lomachenko rematch. What are your thoughts on this whole malarkey?
Mm, listen, we kind of saw it coming. I mean, I thought it was a good fight. Loma lost the fight. It started to get weird in the build up to the fight when he was talking about this is my last fight at 135 anyway. After this, I'm moving up to 140. Immediately, he won the fight clearly. I mean, he won the fight. But afterward, in the post-fight show that we had, we're talking about what's next. And I'm just thinking, I mean, again, I'm just being realistic. I know it's possible to make these other fights. I know everybody's talking about Haney, does he or does he not have to see Haney, this and that. But like realistically though, just to not to be pessimistic, but just to look at the list of top ranked fighters, I said, what's a better fight than the rematch? I'm just asking. And I mean, if it was a blowout, you'd have to look on something else, but that's a damn good fight. I enjoyed the fight.
ESPN isn't even talking about the rematch from what I've seen.
No one really has been.
Why? Why not? That's what I'm
I
trying to
don't
get
know,
at.
man. I mean,
You
because
need
they're talking about
why not
they're
promote a
talking about
rematch?
going
If
on to
you
other things.
get money out of it, you just promote
I
it, and
think
some
people
people
not talking
are
about
gonna
the
get
rematch
$5.
because of the beginning, because of how that fight started off, bro. When you look
Yeah.
at a person, it's not too many times, bro, when you see the physical differences in two fighters like that, and you literally see the little man scared to jump in, bro. So it made people, it made me feel like as a fan, like, yeah, we can watch it again because when Tio got tired,
But
Loma started landing.
Money
But
Man,
the
the
fight, for
fight
the
is
most
12
part,
rounds. What are you talking
it
about?
wasn't close.
The
You said
fight is
what?
12 rounds, bro. Why are you concentrating on the first 6 rounds? The fight was 12 rounds. Lomachenko whooped his
So
ass
that's what I'm
in the
saying.
last
He
six
didn't fight
rounds.
for
He put a
six. So
That's
beating
correct.
on
mean that
him.
he,
So
the
it
best,
wasn't
the
a
best thing he
physical
put
mismatch.
himself
No,
up
it
for.
wasn't a physical mismatch. He whooped his
Oh,
ass.
he was bigger, I believe.
And the
But
reason, in my
No, he
opinion,
was bigger.
yeah,
He was
But if
it
you
precise. He
don't
was a
fight
lot
for
bigger.
6 rounds, the best place you're
I
leaving
hope
that's
yourself
not the
is a
point I'm
draw.
making. That's not the point I'm
Right. The
making.
point,
Yes, he was
6 round.
bigger.
Yeah.
I know. The point is that it wasn't a fucking mismatch. He got his ass whooped in the
No,
fight.
no.
Look, the
Skill
reason why.
wise.
Let me just say this, then you could go. The why they don't want to fight him because I'm the fuck out. Simple.
You cut off there, precise. You cut off the last 2 3 sentences.
I
think he
think for a big
said the
fight for
last
Fimo,
four.
yeah, I
Hold
think
on.
he should try to
Healthy,
unify
healthy
140
Lomachenko
before.
knocks him out.
All right, healthy
You hear
He's
me?
got
Lomachenko.
to knock him out. I agree with that. He's got to.
Healthy Lomachenko will knock him out. Probably. There's a high probability that he knocks him out. That's why they don't want to rematch with the healthy Lomachenko.
well,
Well,
Healthy
listen, but
knew
hold
his
on. Can
injuries
we
going
start
into that
talking?
fight.
Let's talk about. Hold on. Let's talk about the shoulder thing, because precise. You said that Loma did say he finally mentioned the shoulder, right?
There was an interview on Loma, and also Snow Queen LA did a really good review. Actually, don't care too much for the chick, but like it was a really good interview anyway. And Lomachenko said that because of the painkillers that he had to take for the shoulder, he had to disclose to Vara and his opponent that he had an injured shoulder. So that's why Teofimo was laughing his ass off in the build-up, in my opinion, because he knew he had an injured Lomachenko going into the fight. And he was saying there's no
So why did
rematch
he
clause,
look
and
so
we all
good in
know
the
why,
end of the
and we
fight
all
and
know
not the
why.
beginning?
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that
he
Moneyman
got
brings up
away.
a.
The guy got away with murder, man.
But yeah, but hold on. Moneyman brings up a good point. Why did he look good in the middle rounds? Like, why didn't the injury keep on nagging him? I mean,
He
Okay,
had to throw
when
caution to the wind. He had to throw caution to
here's
the
Lomachenko
wind
explained it.
and use
Did
his
you hear the
uninjured arm to
interview?
come straight
Recognize?
forward. It got exciting it got exciting. It got very exciting. It
He
was not a
explained it
blowout fight.
perfectly. It made perfect sense what he said. But you just gotta this is what pisses me off. Like asking the question themselves and trying to answer it honestly. They just act like there's no possible reason why he could have done that. What Lomachenko explained it. He said that the reason why he took it easy and his dad kept telling him to wait is because he said that he in the second round when he uh, landed like 2 or 3 punches in the closing seconds of the second round, I think it was, he felt his shoulder hurt, and
That's
he
correct.
communicated that to his father, and his dad told him to wait till the very end of the fight, because if you get injured right now, you lose by TKO. You have no chance of winning the fight. So wait as much as you can, and then go to war, and then try to win the fight. Because if you get injured early, that's it. The fight's over. You know what I mean? So that's why he did that. Those are his words. You don't have to believe him, but that's what he said.
right. Well, listen, that's a sensible
right.
He
explanation.
also said
But
that when it got to the seventh round, they asked him why he decided to do it in the seventh, and he said because I figured I I either got advised by my corner that I was behind, or I felt that I needed to do it, and whether it was going to tear or not, fuck it, let's do. If it tears, it tears. Let's
right.
go.
Well, look,
And that's
I
just
want to. I'd like to make 2 points on that. Number one, Lomachenko did turn it up in the second round. I remember when I was watching the fight live, and he won the second round. He landed about 3 good, solid lefts in that round, and I remember thinking, okay, now he's going to start turning it up or something. And then he went back into defensive mode in the subsequent round. So it's not like he couldn't turn it up. It's not like, because people say, well, if he would have jumped in there early, he would have got knocked out. I think he could have done a little bit more than what he was doing. I think we can all agree on that. Second of all, whether Lomachenko had an injury or not, the fight was still close. It was still competitive. And that's my whole thing about this. That's why I'm asking the question is, why not see a rematch? Because everybody's focusing on the shoulder.
He turned it up in the second part of the fight. Maybe it was a little bit too late, but I think Teofimo Lopez was in trouble. To me, that's enough to warrant a rematch. Because what if
Well,
he does?
how much was he in trouble?
What if
Pucho?
Lomachenko starts just a little bit earlier? He's gonna okay. People are saying, oh well, if he would have started fighting like that since round one, he would have gotten knocked out. Okay, fair enough. So let's say he just turns it up 2 rounds earlier instead of like
3 or 4,
whatever
yeah.
he did whenever he turned it up in the first fight.
He
That's
hit
warrants a
he hit
rematch.
Teofimo low. He hit Teofimo low, then he led with his head. Then he almost got knocked. I'm not almost got knocked, but he got staggered really bad. Teofimo took the fight back. Size matters, man. Now I'm not saying that the best Loma won't do better. Yeah, he can if he was injured, but I don't think Teofimo was in trouble in the latter
Wait,
part.
so what
In the
people
11th he was.
so the logical conclusion from what you just said, BDA, if indeed we are to take that stance, the logical conclusion from that is that Teofimo is a 6-round fighter, and 6 easy rounds where nothing happens, it completely gasses him out, and then after that he's shit. That's what people are saying.
Well,
Really?
listen.
Yeah, how did
In the build up
Yeah.
to the fight, I remember we were all saying Lopez is gonna start early. Loma is gonna take it in the deep rounds. The thing we all missed was the 12th round, because Lopez did win that one. But essentially, the fight was pretty much going the way most people expected. So, like Bucci also said, if you make a couple of adjustments, that alone warrants a rematch. That's my thing. I'm interested in hearing why people would say it does or doesn't. And speaking of that, let's go to 214, because we got a phone call. 214, you're in the air. 214, what's on your mind?
I was listening to you guys talking about why people don't want to rematch. Well, it wasn't as exciting as people thought it was going to be. Because the promotion, people thought the fight was going to be really exciting. I think people preferred the Tank fight with Leo Santa Cruz.
Well, yeah, that was a bit more of an action fight, but that's just because Tank Davis is so defensively responsible in there. But I'm curious,
Santa
caller.
Cruz is
No, it wasn't. That's nonsense. How do you say that was a more exciting fight when it had 6 rounds of good action just like the other fight? What do you like?
Yeah, that's a
Come
good
on,
point. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
but he had 6
Come
rounds
on,
for
man.
falling asleep as well, right? So you have to I factor that in.
That's
But
another
it's
good
I'm
point.
not
Yeah,
saying
but
it was
what then you got
tactical
6
fight.
rounds of going to sleep.
It was a
Fighting
tactical
12
fight.
rounds, man. Look, all I'm hearing, not all I'm hearing, but I'm hearing a lot of very dishonest assessments of the fight, man. People are scared. Teofimo fanboys are scared because a healthy Loma is a different
correct.
fight, man. Keep it real.
Hold on. Let me speak.
Go ahead.
I do
Go ahead.
believe that
Yeah,
a healthy
speak.
Loma could beat
Let me
Teofimo.
speak.
Go
I
ahead,
do
caller.
believe a healthy Loma could beat Teofimo because I was watching the fight and I was really frustrated. I'm like, why isn't Loma turning this up? Like Teofimo isn't really doing anything like really special. Like I could see him trying, but it wasn't like super like anything super effective. And then like in the 7th round when he was turning up, I was like, damn, he's about to stop him because he was breathing out his mouth and he wasn't even doing anything.
Well, that's the
And
other
then
thing, caller.
Teofimo he drops his hands low a lot.
Well, that's the other thing,
Teofimo
caller. You
Yeah.
just brought up,
commented
caller.
on
You
that.
just brought up a good point, which is the rounds that Lomachenko won were clearly his, whereas the ones that Lopez won were, hitting him on
It
the
was cleaner
shoulders.
work.
Yeah.
It
It
was
was like
clear work. So
it was a lot more cleaner work where Lomachenko was losing because he wasn't doing anything in the first. Most of the rounds that he lost, except the 12th round, where look, Teofimo was just fighting back. I mean, okay, you could give him the round for that, but in reality, he was just fighting back. But the rounds that Teofimo was winning, you can just say that he was winning off of basically Lomachenko being inactive. And then when Lomachenko turned it up, when his arm was probably starting to loosen up a little bit, and he started to let his hands go, because that's what happens when you have an injury, right? Or when you injure it early.
Yeah, but can I throw something in there? Recognize?
hold on.
Yeah.
All right,
Hold
right.
on.
Go ahead, but I'll let in when I get a chance.
No, go ahead.
Well, actually, because I gotta say something real quick. I
Go ahead,
forgot.
Vidian. Go ahead. I'll just
Shout out to
say it
Mr.
after.
Perfect. Shout out to Mr. E, who donated via the super chat twice, and he said the Fab Four, talking about the lightweights, everyone forgot about Bob Dylan, aka Lomachenko. Yeah, that's true. My counting is off the hook tonight because I was
Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan. Yeah, the Fab Four, the Beatles. But remember who inspired the Beatles? It was Bob Dylan. That's what Lomachenko is, man. So shout out to Mr. E for that contribution. And then he said also another super chat. He says,
He's knocking on heaven's knocking on heaven's door.
Sorry, yeah. Queen Jane. Physiology of the liver aside, Precise can at times make sense despite himself. Oh, wait a minute. Great guy, great show, BDA, badass. Well, thank you, Mr. E. Thank you. And I'm pretty sure Precise appreciates that. I think there was a compliment in there as well. and a little bit of a criticism. All right, Gonzalo, go ahead, man. What was your?
Yeah, so let's say that Lomachenko, the rounds that he won were more clear, and the ones Teofimo was because Loma wasn't really active. So if one thing is, if Loma opens up, maybe he loses those rounds really clearly because the more he would open up, the more he would get countered and beat up, possibly knocked out. So we can't really take away from Teofimo's rounds that he didn't do enough because Loma didn't step it up. Because there was a reason why Loma didn't step it up. Because if he opened up, he possibly could have got knocked out. So if he would have opened up, maybe Loma gets thrashed in there. But just because he didn't do anything doesn't mean that couldn't have happened.
Exactly. But listen, this is why the rematch, because everybody gets hung up on the shoulder. Oh, he lost. Stop making excuses for him. People love to talk about the excuses and the shoulder and blah, 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 whatever. They get into these little battles. Everything we're talking about, the if and what if, that's what warrants a rematch, in my opinion. Why not? Like, why not see? Look, if Lomachenko does turn it up early, he gets knocked out, and he gets knocked out, and then we finally get a little finality. You know, boxing fans always talk about, oh, we left things uncooked. It wasn't resolved. Well, now we got a chance to resolve it. Why not? That's what I'm trying to get people's opinion on this.
People are asking for a Wilder Fury 3 third fight, and they don't want to see a Lomachenko Teofimo Lopez second fight, and they're up crazy.
Exactly. Come on, man. Hey, listen, we got a phone call here. We got a phone call here. Somebody wants to say something to Teofimo Lopez.
Step up, nigga. Step up, nigga.
Oh, there you go. Step up. Why not? All right. Go ahead, Kilmer.
Well, I think we will see a rematch because it does make sense, you know, with the live gate and probably pay-per-view. I guess we just I think they're just blue balling us right now.
Hey, but speaking of that paper, because the fight wasn't pay-per-view, you just reminded me of something there, Kelmer. The fight did great numbers, right? On ESPN?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, there you go.
Like
even more
3
incentive
million?
to make it. Yeah. I remember something about the 3 mil. Yeah. Actually, 600,000 if you want to use my count. But anyway, yeah, it did great numbers, right? Supposedly. So that's another reason why. And like some people are saying, well, Lomachenko needs another big win. I don't know why he needs a big win. I mean, how many big wins did Lopez have?
What? Who said that?
Well, some people are saying that.
Lopez didn't have any big wins.
Well,
as a big win before Loma, I think Comey, no?
Comey, yeah, that was a good win.
The guy that got smashed by fucking 5'2" Shafikov, that was a good win.
But listen, the reason why I don't want to discriminate against the guy too much is because people do the same thing with Lomachenko. We can play that game all night, remember that, but look, Lopez, the onus of this discussion is he beat one good guy. Now, in hindsight, Nakatani is a tough dude, even though he was getting outboxed by Valdez. So that resume was a little thin there. Now, all of a sudden, we want the guy who was pound for pound number one with only 15 fights. Most of those were significant. Now he needs to go back to the drawing board and get something in the war chest to have something to leverage against Lopez. I don't know. That seems a little suspect to me.
No. Man, you guys, if you picked Comey to beat Teofimo, then I see why you would say it was a big win, man. I made no fucking qualms. Comey is not a very good man. He fucking lost to what's
Easter.
That fucking. He arguably beat him.
Also, if Teofimo wants to go undisputed at 140, I think he should unify first before they move up weight.
Yeah, listen.
Now he's talking about staying at 135 because earlier he was saying that he couldn't. He was struggling to make 135. So, all of us were saying that. Yeah, we knew he was gonna go to 140 eventually after the Lomachenko fight. But now he's saying, "Oh, I'm staying and I want to fight Ryan and I want to fight Davis." I guess he sees the money aspect now.
Yeah, the Comey win was a good win because he not only beat Comey, he sparked him out.
Exactly.
He didn't go 12 rounds like Easter.
It was a good win, but let's not blow it out of proportion.
It's his biggest win, or I guess what you can say, but we can say it's like a fucking.
It was
great win.
His biggest. It was his biggest win.
Yeah, his biggest win. Like
I took my turn to be. Look,
You're breaking up, Precise. You're breaking up, man. You're breaking up, man. Are you still using the bamboo Wi-Fi?
That's me, video.
No, well, I think Precise has it too over there in Ecuador. Precise, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got that. You're breaking up something. I can hear you.
Yeah, they have to Precise.
Yeah, they're triangulating your
lies.
position.
I can hear everybody fine.
Oh, there you go.
That's
And by the way,
amazing.
we got somebody else in the StreamYard here. Justin. Are you there?
Oh yeah, that guy.
You're breaking up
Justin.
for me. Like, give me a few seconds. I'll come back. Wait,
Yeah. How about you don't? Oh shit. All right. Oh shit. I accidentally disconnected from the StreamYard. Hold on a second.
the chat, man.
Oh boy.
All
Uh,
right.
I'm
Justin.
BC for life, man.
What are you?
Salute
You sound a little bit out
to
of breath, man.
everybody.
Justin, you
Yeah,
sound a little bit out of
you
breath
know,
there, man. Are you okay?
Teofimo
All right.
is
Let's
a
just skip
great
over that question.
fighter. Fought two champions back to back. That's amazing. You know, um, I don't think he's ducking Lomachenko. Lomachenko should have put the rematch clause in the fight if he really wanted it. That's his fault, man.
Not his
So
fault.
yeah,
What do you mean? Like we just explained it. Like why would you put a rematch clause? Let's say Teofimo Lopez would have knocked out Lomachenko in one round. Why would you want to have a rematch? So why do you put a rematch clause? I'm trying to say you don't know the outcome. You have to wait for the outcome, and then you decide if you want to see the fight again.
Does he have anything like new to contribute? Because we can't be just going over the same shit over. Can you advance the argument?
He
Or
left. You guys.
we
Yeah,
going back?
good job, guys. You drove him out.
Good.
You drove him out. I gotta
Nice.
tell you, man. Oh, but that's why they couldn't
Okay,
hear
but
me.
This is why I
he
like
was saying
boxing.
to
The
blame.
way,
Anyways, let's not get into that shit.
this is why I like boxing the way it used to be. Instead of like these new age fighters, like the rematch was the big fight. Like to beat, let's say Roberto Duran, shit, yeah, the rematch is the biggest fight. You know, that was that like Esteban de Jesus. Remember when he beat? Well, not that you remember, but if you know anything about boxing history, he lost to a guy named Esteban de Jesus.
That's
A
right.
lot of people didn't think he was going to win that fight. He won. The biggest fight of his career after that was the rematch where, okay, he got his ass kicked, but shit, at least he put himself in that position.
But I recognize I'm trying to I'm scratching my head here, trying to remember the last time a guy said I don't want a rematch. Like I don't want to rematch these guys. Like especially for a fight that was close. I mean, he wasn't.
Marquez. Well, then again, Marquez had fought him 4 times, so let's
Yeah, I
be
mean,
fair,
come on,
right?
man. It's like,
He
look,
said,
I can't
I
even
don't
fuck a.
want a fifth fight. Fuck this
Yeah,
shit.
look, I can't even fuck a
Rematch
woman twice
clauses
before I want to change. Go ahead, please.
are. Am I still?
Thought
Whole
you
A side, B side nonsense, and really, again,
no.
Okay, better
Once you
now.
start,
You're better now.
once you get going, like Lomachenko, once you get going, then it starts to get. Now we can listen, but before that, it just starts breaking up.
it just makes some fighters bigger than boxing. The action in or the demand from the public should dictate that the fight happens again, not some stupid rematch clause.
That's what I'm trying
A
to get at
side.
here.
It's just fanboy shit, man.
Can you imagine if Teofimo, Teofimo should be like, man, what if I fight him in a rematch and I knock him out? How big would I be then?
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's
You
what I
get
don't
what I'm saying? Like
understand.
it could
Yeah.
happen too. I'm not saying it can't. Like maybe Lomachenko. Remember, go look at the Roy Jones fight. He saw how negative he fought in that fight the first time against Tarver. He kind of was whipping Tarver's ass in the first round, and then boom, he gets caught. Right, he gets knocked
Right.
out. So that's what I'm saying. You never know what could happen. Sometimes your best weapon is that your fighter, the guy you're fighting against, who's smaller than you, is going to come in there more confident, and maybe you land the big shot.
Exactly. I mean, that's what boxing is all about. Like, I don't understand why. I mean, look, listen. Would I be satisfied if Teofimo Lopez fights somebody else? Absolutely, man. There would still be that lingering question though, of the what if. Like, what?
In
What
the
if?
Camboso fight, I wanted to bring this up. I remember this. I'm not saying nobody here, right? Because we're the best.
Well, I'm the best, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But when Lomachenko was entertaining the idea of going to Australia to fight him, right? Because I think where's he from? Australia or New Zealand?
One of those.
Australia.
Australia. Okay. So when he was entertaining the idea of going over there, so many people gave him slack for that. Like, yo, he's nitpicking, he's cherry picking, he's this and that. So people got to keep let's keep it honest. Like, okay, if he's gonna fight Camboso, fine. Yeah, to me, I thought that even when Lomachenko was gonna fight him, I thought that was a decent fight. Same thing with Lopez. But after that fight, if Why not fight Lomachenko if the fight's there?
I don't know what people don't understand. A mandatory is a mandatory. You have to fight your mandatory. There's no if and buts. You have to fight your mandatory, man.
And what happens if he doesn't fight him?
Huh? He'll get stripped.
And then what happens? Does his dick fall off? Do his teeth fall off? Like
He's
does
not
he
going to
be?
get stripped. Hey, listen,
It's
Camboso was the mandatory for whoever won that
So
fight.
then he'll fight Loma for no belt.
That's true.
Yeah. And look,
Listen,
if
Camboso was the mandatory for whoever won that fight. So it's no problem with Teofimo fighting Camboso next. I mean, you can't knock it. You can't knock him for it. I don't care what he's getting paid. I really don't. It's none of my business. It's not that I don't care. It's just
I want to know.
irrelevant.
I want
It's
to
totally
know.
irrelevant.
I disagree
So
with
let-
you. I want
Right
to know
now.
why he's making. Yeah.
All right, hold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to. Yeah,
Go ahead. Finish your point, and I want to say something.
recognize the auditor. Now listen, he's going to go over there and fight his mandatory. But listen, let's just not write off the fact that the best fight you ever saw Teofimo Lopez fight in was that Lomachenko fight. That was the most exciting fight you've ever seen him in.
That's true.
Yes, it is. And as
Not
a
really.
Lomachenko fan, that was about the most exciting. That was one of the most exciting fights I've ever seen Loma in. It was puzzling to me, but
Nakatani was better. Nakatani versus.
okay, fine. He's better. So, who's the best fight this guy can make after he fulfills his mandatory? Let me ask you, everybody, a question.
Lomachenko-
Because up to this point, we weren't talking about Camboso. We were talking about going up to 140. And
Okay,
everybody
so let's
else
say-
was
let's
talking
say-
about, and even Lomachenko fans, some former Lomachenko fans were talking about Lomachenko got exposed. Teofimo Lopez put a stop on him. The reason why he wasn't circling the proper, he was circling to his right the entire, from the first round on. And I'm going, what the fuck is he doing? He's circling towards Teofimo Lopez's power. Why is he doing this? No one could explain it. Well, some people could explain it. They said that because Teofimo Lopez, every time he tried to establish foot dominance, he put a stop to it. He stopped them. He stoned them. I don't think Teofimo was winded at all. I don't think it was gas. I think that what happened. But again, what's the best fight that Teofimo could be in?
Right, and just to add to what you said, you know why? I mean, I don't maybe mind that Camboso fight because Teofimo Lopez saying that he wants to fight 3 times a year. So if he actually fulfills that promise to fighting 3 times a year,
Exactly.
then that's fine. You get a mandatory in there and then 2 big fights. So
And
I don't have a problem.
Cambosos is not a bad fighter. I've seen him. The guy's quick and all that. Look, listen, of course, I think Lopez is going to win, but that's the reason why they fight, because you never know what happens in the ring. And that's why people are wondering, why no rematch with Lomachenko? But Kombucha, I've seen him fight, man. He's quick. He's got skills in there, so I want to see that fight. By the way, shout out to the ghost of Slugger, Sam. Just donated with the super chat. You're going to see his advertisement coming up in a couple of seconds. He says, "Hey, Stu, remember me? Benny Blanco from the Bronx." All right, first of all, Ghost of Slugger Sam, thank you for your contribution. Stu is not here, and I don't know why you would be throwing Carlitos Way's quotes at the guy if he's British. He's not even Cuban, Venezuelan, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But shout out to Ghost of Slugger Sam for his contribution. Now,
BDA, can I ask you a question?
it better be good. Yes.
Okay. So, wouldn't you say Loma not putting a rematch clause in the contract being cocky? Is that cocky to you?
No.
Okay, then. So then the fight doesn't need to be happen again. Ready prove
A little.
that.
No, doesn't make sense. Did you know that Teofimo Lopez's father told Lomachenko, actually made fun of him for having a rematch clause in there? He said, "Why are you not confident that you're gonna win the fight?" And then Lomachenko said, "Take it out."
But by the way, they have the same promoter though. They have the
What are
same
you
promoter,
talking
so
about?
it's not like
Loma
he
can
doesn't
have
call the
something-
shot. We don't even know if that story's true, because I don't know if Lomachenko
Yeah.
really calls the shot. You know, so could have
Well,
been
exactly.
Uncle Bob said.
How do you know Lomachenko was in control of that?
But see,
anyways?
that's the thing that I'm getting at here. We keep barging on or focusing on the rematch clause, the shoulder. This guy said that. This guy said this. This guy said that. Hell, too cocky. Who cares? What happened in the ring? Was it a close fight or not?
Who isn't too cocky anyways
not
these
as
days? Come on, get the
close
fuck
as
out.
it was as people say it was.
I've seen closer fights. I've seen less competitive fights get immediate rematches because it makes
I
sense.
had it 8-4.
Well, you had it 84. A
Good
lot
for
of people
you.
had,
Good for you, man. Hey, that's beautiful. Who's a better fight? Hey, who's MMA champ? I'm gonna ask you one question, man. Don't fucking bust my balls now. Answer me. What's a better fight that you've seen? What's a better fight for Teofimo Lopez at 135 than Lomachenko? You got a better fighter for me?
I guess Tank
Dan
Davis both have
Lomachenko,
power, but
the WBC champion Devin Haney.
not better.
All right, Devin Haney. There you go.
well, listen. I would, in terms of an event, if Ryan Garcia keeps raising his profile and Teofimo Lopez looks sensational against Camboza, knocks him out cold or something like that, then that fight would probably be making. I'm pretty sure it would make bigger numbers than a Loma rematch. But in
On what
terms of
platform, though? On what platform? He's over there on DAZN. Loma's on Top Rank with ESPN. It's not in the cards, man. It's just.
I know it's not. Yeah, I know. I get what you're saying, but I'm saying
talk about it. But come on now.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is potentially when people say, well, if he wants a money fight, potentially the Ryan Garcia fight would make more money. That is if Ryan Garcia keeps looking good, because at this point, I mean, you never know with boxing fans. Like the Garcia Campbell fight was getting a lot of hype, and I don't know if many of us expected that. Speaking of money, a super chat coming in again from the Ghost of Slugger Sam. He says, every time I went out, they dragged me back in. Wait a minute. Was that the exact quote, or was it every time every time I try to come out, they pull me back in? Wasn't it pull back in?
Every time
Look it up.
I wanted out, they pulled me back in.
They pull me back. Yeah, they pull me back in. Yeah, I'm usually trying to pull out too, if you get my feeling. But yeah, the Ghost of Slugger Sam. Shout out to the.
That's how some of my kids. That's how some of my kids were born.
Anyway, listen.
Exactly.
Or conceived.
Hey, speaking of dick jokes, Ryan Garcia, he was also in the news here. I don't know if you guys saw the whole thing with him and Tank Davis with Mike Tyson. But Ryan Garcia came out too also and said he told Gervonta Davis, "Don't worry, it's gonna be quick." That's all. Another thing I tell my the women I sleep with. But listen, the point is this, man. He's sounding very confident, and he's gonna knock Tank Davis. But like Uncle Pete so eloquently mentioned, fucking Tank Davis is with the PBC and Ryan Garcia is with DAZN. So what are the chances that fight happens?
Yeah, let's just not be naive. I mean, we're all like boxing and we all like to see these fights, but if we could just speak, like realistically here, I mean, I don't think we need to like pander for anybody. It's just been a kind of like a shell game from the beginning. I'm moving up right after this fight, but I made weight, but he made weight easily. I'm not saying that he said he made weight. I'm saying he made 135, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
He looked fine, rehydrated fine. He's a young kid, the whole nine. Lomachenko's willing to come up. There was no catch weights, none of that. Okay. Lomachenko came out. He did fight awkward. He did fight differently than I expected. He fought differently than I've ever seen him fight before. It was puzzling at the time. Matrix mentioned something was wrong. I saw something in his face when he came out. Something was wrong, if you remember that. Mm-hmm. Everybody's got their take on the fight. We were trying to figure it out. I mean,
the
scorecards were fucked up, but that's
for that fight.
The scorecards were fucked up, but I mean, that's not here nor there.
Hey, Pete, but
the right person
sometimes
won.
Just because he's ambivalent doesn't mean that he's lying. How many times we as human beings say we're gonna do something, then we don't do it? By nature, we're just like that. Oh, I promise you this and that, but we don't fulfill whatever we're gonna say, man.
But who though? What are you even talking about? What does that have to do with what I said?
He's probably is struggling to make weight, but now that he won, maybe he just wants to get a defense and he still thinks he can make it. I don't know. It doesn't mean that he was lying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So before the fight, I'm moving up to 140. After the fight, listen, I'm moving up to 140, and then so something's changed. He's want to make 135 again. No problem. I don't think he has a problem making 135.
I agree with you, man. That was an exciting fight.
With an in-house promotion, what are they?
You know what? It was so exciting, man. That Teofimo came back and Lomachenko took the punches.
One at a time.
For a short midget dude, he can really take a shot, man. Lomachenko's a tough motherfucker.
Hey, by the way, before we continue, shout out to the Coastal Slugger Sam who keeps on going, and he says he said another super chat says, I only got two things in my world, my word and my balls, and I don't break them for no one. That's in 2 super chats, by the way, from the Coastal Slugger Sam. So shout out to you, Slugger Sam. How about you do a little something from Jurassic Park, man? You got anything from that? How about Smart Girl? What was it? Before
Why
the
don't
night
you
gets
say
cold?
it to my face, Slugger Sam? You know? Why don't you say it to
No, I
my
just said
face?
oh man, I'm ready for my close up now. Oh, hold on a sec. He's got another one. Oh yeah, Slugger Sam. Come on, man. You gotta. All right. He says, in all the 5 boroughs I'm known. Forget about it. Wait a minute. In all the
Nobody
5
knows you. Nobody knows you.
Wait, is that from
Nobody.
Popo Greenwich Village or which movie is that quote from?
He's
In
a
all the
bum in Queens. Nobody knows him in Queens.
No, but hold on. Which do you know which movie he's talking about? In all the 5 boroughs I'm known. Forget about it.
Oh, yeah.
That's Donnie Brasco.
That's Sonny Brasco. Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. Okay, yeah, that's Al Pacino's line. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
Al
okay.
Pacino. That's Al Pacino. Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is, if
Better be about Al
Teofimo,
Pacino.
Speaking of which, go ahead.
It better be about
if
Al Pacino. Go ahead.
Teofimo himself and his dad is
You
saying
sound like
that
Luca
he's
Brasi. Hey, you
drained,
sound like Luca Brasi.
he's drained, and he can't make the weight, who are you to tell them that he can make it easily?
I'm gonna tell him
Doesn't
what I
make any
want. What do you
sense.
think about that? I'll
That's
tell him. Hey,
right.
listen, can you make the weight? No? Okay, then you gotta make it now. That's how it works, right? BDA's gospel goes. That's how it works. By the way, shout out to
That's right.
fucking Ghost of Slugger Sam again says Donnie Brasco. Yeah, thank you, Ghost. You didn't have to do that. By the way, hold on. Before we continue, we got Blackout Republican, all right, and we got Virtuoso in Blackout Republican. Go ahead, Blackout. What's on your mind?
Fuck. Happened to my.
Blackout Republican.
Logan Paul's gonna knock out Floyd Mayweather. Logan Paul's gonna beat Floyd Mayweather.
Who's gonna what now?
Logan Paul's gonna knock
gonna
out
beat
Floyd Mayweather.
Well, listen, some people. I was listening to Joe Rogan the other day. He's like, "Yo, this guy's a big dude," and blah blah blah. I'm thinking, man, we're going to that little rigmarole again with the whole hyping up the fight. Are we gonna go through that rigmarole again with the whole fight? By the way, shout out to the Ghost of Slugger Sam says, "I always knew it was you, Fredo. You broke." All right, Ghost of Slugger Sam, I appreciate the super chats, man, but you're spamming the super chat now, and it's all from fucking. I think somebody broke into his.
He's tipping $1 every time. He could do it 20 times if he wanted.
I know, but I think he broke into his grandfather's liquor cabinet. And now he's just going to town with those quotes. We got Virtuoso on the line as well. Virtuoso, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I mean, well, I don't know what's up with Sugar Sam, you know, fucking super chatting movie quotes. This guy sounds like a real film nerd.
Well, wait a minute. First of all, he's a film buff. You gotta get it right. That's number one. Number two, we're talking about Lopez, Lomachenko rematch happening. Yes, no, why not? You give us your take on this.
It's kind of it's kind of a mistake, really, that they didn't figure out that if the fight was going to be close, this would lead to a rematch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought that this should have been a rematch. Like the moment they announced the fight, you know, I felt that it was going to be a one-off, and I'm like, I never thought about, you know, this fight being so close, because when I saw it the second time, I thought Loma fought to a draw. I didn't think he won. But yeah, I think it was like a hit and run. I think it's kind of opportunistic to say that, okay, you was like mean to me at first, so that's why I'm not giving you a rematch. I mean, I never heard things like that from fighters, man. I just kind of, I don't know.
Well, Virtuoso, because I don't really follow the behind the scenes shenanigans. So you tell me, man, what exactly did Lomachenko do anything disrespectful? Because I remember Teofimo Lopez sending his drunk father over to harass Lomachenko's team, and that's where and even Lopez Senior said, "Oh, maybe I got it wrong." So which one is it? Like, who spoke shit first? Who was disrespectful first? Do you know, or?
There was none of
Well,
that shit. Stop it.
From what I learned from watching that documentary prior to the fight, The Blood, Sweat, and Tears, I think Teofimo Senior came up to him, and his account was basically Loma's account was that he was drunk. So I figured that, like, if someone comes up to you like that, I mean, eventually you're gonna have your defenses up, because like any guy that's like drunk and is aggressive, you know, things might go out of hand. But I can see how Teofimo feels like Loma doesn't acknowledge him. But
That's
at the
right.
same time,
He said he blew him off. He just said he blew him off in essence. He said just looked him up and down and blew him off.
Yeah.
That
that's
was the allegation.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
warrants.
that's so disrespectful.
All right, that's
recognize.
I can't believe I can.
Recognize. Let me ask you. Recognize.
She's a girl.
All right, hold
She's
on,
a
hold
little
on.
girl. Come
Recognize.
on.
Let me ask you this, man. Let's say you're in an elevator or something, and there's a lot of people around. You know, you're
How is
trying
that
to
being
get.
an elevator?
Yeah, you're trying to gauge the situation. Like, okay, there's a lot of people, blah blah blah. You're relaxed. You know, you're from 1 to 10 in the recognized high testosterone scale. You're at a not even a 1, right? All of a sudden, a guy comes up to you, starts telling you, "Hey, listen, my son's gonna knock you out." Blah 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 blah, and you can see he might be a little bit inebriated. You know, he's got the crazy eyes. He's breaching your space a little. How would you react? Like, would you talk shit back, or would you stand back, or like, what's the protocol there from you?
If he's in the elevator, he's all mine. I'll kill him.
Yeah, he's
Okay,
got
and what
nowhere
if
to
that
go.
guy
Huh?
was speaking a foreign language to you as well, and you didn't even understand what the hell
No,
he
no.
was
Okay,
saying?
listen.
But
That's what I'm saying. Look, I'm sorry. Go ahead, BDA.
No, I was making up a language. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm just saying, like Tio's
the
dad
guy's
walked over
coming up
in
to him as
English
the
and said
drunk.
something to
So he's got.
dad.
I don't know. Look, you ever had look? I worked as a bouncer. I've hung out with my boys. All that stuff. I've seen people come up to me and they're talking to me and they're like real drunk. And they're spitting. I'm like, dude, talk the other way because you're spitting my direction now. Like, just when you're talking to me, you know, aim your mouth the other way. And you know, people like that, they become annoying, and you want to stay the fuck away from them, especially if the guy's like saying something stupid. Yo, my son's gonna knock you out. Like, oh man, get the fuck out of my face. That's what I would say. Like, oh man, get out my face.
So would it be
Before I
fair
knock
to
you
say?
out.
Would it be fair to say that just looking at the guy and dismissing him would actually be the most respectful thing to do in the amidst all the other options out there?
You see, here's the thing. Exactly right. Like, if some guy did that to me, you know, maybe there's a little chess game going on. I'm not gonna be so offended. I'm like, all right, okay. But a street guy like his dad, a fucking a dude who's goes to functions and drinks and shit like that, and he has a son growing up to crying on fucking TV. Like, yeah, maybe to him that's offensive. You know, like,
Recognize. Can I add something to that when you're done?
No, that's it. That's it. Gonzalo, go ahead.
The language barrier too. I know that Teofimo is a Salvadorian American, and maybe Lomachenko
Honduran.
verbatim doesn't
Honduran.
understand everything
Is that what
clearly.
he is? I thought he was
Yeah,
Honduran.
He's Honduran.
He doesn't
sorry,
understand
Honduran.
anything.
But
Right.
you guys get what
That's
I'm
right.
saying.
Same shit.
Here in the Philippines, these people, these guys understand English, but sometimes it's uncomfortable, or they don't want to like really hear what
Well,
I have to
Gonzalo,
say.
here's my
because
thing.
They don't
Gonzalo.
understand everything verbatim, so
Gonzalo,
they just
I'm-
don't want to deal with it. Yeah.
Gonzalo, I'm a mature I'm a mature man like everybody else. I know when I've had a couple of drinks, maybe I shouldn't go up to another guy while I'm drunk and tell him my son's gonna whip your ass with fucking
wait.
spit
So
coming out of my fucking mouth. You know what I'm saying?
I
Unless
I go ahead.
I want confrontation. I actually do want a confrontation. Then I do that.
Yeah.
And by the way,
That's what's going on.
by the way,
Can-
shout out to the Ghost of Slugger Sam. Another contribution. He says, "I never have money, but if I do, I give you half." And then he turns it around and says, "Hey, BDA, give me my money back. I actually need it. Too late, Slugger Sam. We've already spent it on infrastructure and the research and development lab, so that money is gone." All right, go ahead, Justin. What do you want to say?
All right, so listen, boxing fans need to know this. It's all for promotion, man. Like these fighters,
Of course, yeah.
especially especially Lomachenko. He speaks like a robot. He can't really understand English, so they have to do more of the promotion. Now we're not we're not what's the name? We're not people who we're not psychologists, okay?
How do you know?
We don't analyze all
Speak
this
for
stuff,
yourself,
man.
buddy boy.
We're just
Lomachenko speaks like a robot.
Listen, bro. Listen. We're not psychologists, man. We're just here to watch the fight.
Listen, but
we don't
caller.
analyze all the other stuff, man. This is
Caller, I gotta
too
listen.
deep
We're
into
doing
a
a
fighter's
show,
personal
and we're
life.
asking.
We're not.
Go ahead,
We're
Reagan.
talking about our opinions about what we think about that excuse. I'm saying that excuse is lame, bro. It's lame. Look, him crying on TV. I think that's lame. Okay. Now, is it part of the act? Probably is. And if I'm watching a movie and he does that, I say that's kind of lame. That he's crying like on TV about his dad. Me and my dad, you know, we don't talk like we used to. and shit like that. Like keep that shit.
They used to
In my
sleep in the
opinion, keep
same
that to
bed till
yourself.
he was 17, man.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, are we making shit up now? Hold on a second. What?
No, man. He said in an interview. I think it's on Hub. He used to sleep in the same bed till Teofimo was like 16 or 17 years old, man. That whole family's fucked up, man.
All right, well, wait a
Them
minute.
dudes
We're
are
talking
fucked
about,
up,
look,
man.
listen, hold on.
Fuck them all, man.
Hold on. Teofimo
Culture.
Lopez beat him.
He comes from a culture.
Maybe they're bunk beds. Maybe they're bunk beds.
Oh, jeez, Luis. Hey,
listen.
Hey, well, hold on. You're sounding super fucking loud, man. Pete, did you change your microphone or something?
No, I just moved up close. Sorry.
It's on a bullhorn.
All right, listen.
No, it was good. It was good.
I can lower the volume from my end for myself, but if you guys need to lower his volume, you have to do it on your own on Discord. Otherwise, yeah, you can hear him roaming around there in the back. Look, listen. What? Go ahead, Pete. Or Pete. No, you sound overmodulated, man. You sound overmodulated.
Okay.
You sound fine.
No, you don't sound fine. Stop him. You sound fine.
Like he's talking through.
He sounds like shit, man. What
He
the
sounds
fuck?
like he's talking through one of them toilet paper tube stuff with dryer sheets.
Exactly. Hey, listen, I'm on the phone here, and I gotta tell you something, guys. Come on, man. Straighten it out.
But I think the caller and recognize they agree on one thing, and I agree with both of them. It's fake, man. It's a lie. What Teofimo's saying is obviously a lie. Look, if he disrespected you, let's say he did. Okay, fine. Before the first fight, you fucking fought him. He didn't disrespect you after the fight. So why not fight him? Like he disrespected you and you fought him, and now you're saying, "Oh, he disrespected me, so that's why I won't fight him." He's a hypocrite. The guy's
That's a good point.
man. He's straight up.
Wait a minute, that's a great point.
That's what happens. That's what happens when you sleep with your daddy in the same bed.
Okay, now wait a minute.
17, man. You're fucked up for life.
There was genuinely some bad blood in there. And I think there's still is.
That's a great way. Hold on.
That's real, man.
First of all, that's why people say, "Oh, Precise a weirdo." Nah, man, he brings up great points. Why the fuck is he saying he disrespected me before the fight? You're gonna fight him now. All of a sudden, no, I'm not gonna fight him anymore because he disrespected me. So where's the logic in that? Like
BDA.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you from my heart for calling me a weirdo, and to everybody else out there. Because in a world where people think disease spread by healthy people, I love you.
Yeah, weirdo's a compliment these days. If somebody from this world calls you a weirdo, I think that's a compliment.
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Fuck your new normal.
Exactly. Oh yeah, that can go straight into the trash. No, but look, listen. At the end of the day, we can talk all we want about this guy, that guy, but the fucking fight, it's got legs. A rematch has legs, and I'm just interested in why Look, listen. I know people were pissed off with Lomachenko's, and that's the other thing I never understood. The why people were saying, "Oh, Lomachenko, I hate Lomachenko," and then I would ask him why on this show. People who call in, and they would say, "Well, because he's overhyped." I'm thinking, how is that Lomachenko's fault? He's, as far as I know, he's not the one going around to the marketing department going, "Hey, listen, say that I'm the next Muhammad Ali and this and that." Anyway, that's besides the point. That's why.
You know what that fight reminded me of?
But hold on, recognize. I think that's the reason why most people, the people that were against him, wanted to see him lose because they felt he was overhyped. And boxing fans in general, when they see somebody they feel he's overhyped, they want to see him get shot down a few pegs. But just based on that, you're telling me you don't want to see a rematch? Like, I don't know. People need to come up with some better excuse as to why the rematch shouldn't happen. Because so far we've heard he was cocky and there was no rematch clause. The fight wasn't close, which of course it was. I mean, I thought I gave it to Lopez. I haven't rewatched it in a while. So, but what I'm saying is that the rematch has legs, and I haven't heard any good reasons why it shouldn't happen.
Listen, it was a competitive fight, right? In the first 6 rounds, Lomachenko didn't do much, and I do agree to a large extent. I think that Teofimo has something to do with that because he's just naturally the bigger guy. He's really wide and all that stuff. But the fight that fight reminded me of Roy Jones versus Tarver, the first fight, where not that it went like that, the action. What I mean is, Roy Jones didn't really do anything. Then, in the later rounds, he tried to make a comeback. He did actually. He was winning some rounds, and then kind of again towards the ending of the round. Him and Tarver were maybe you could say Tarver edged it out a little bit, but it kind of reminded me of that, and people wanted a rematch because, Tarver won. Roy Jones won the fight, and most people thought Tarver won. So my point of bringing that up, if Tarver would have actually won the first fight, like a lot of people thought he did, you don't think people would have wanted to see a fucking rematch between Antonio Tarver versus Roy Jones again?
Yeah, exactly. That's
If
what.
Tarver would have won on points.
It's a good point. You know what other fight this reminded me of, though, to a more closer extent, was Hopkins Jermaine Taylor, the first one. Hopkins was waiting for the young guy to weather down, hitting him with a couple of shots here, people booing. Then all of a sudden he turned it up, and there was a rematch afterwards. Now I think there was a rematch clause in because Hopkins at that time was the champ and he had the 20 title defense, blah blah blah. So I think he was calling the shots more or less. Then they had a rematch.
Undisputed too, right? At that point, he was undisputed.
Well, he was the lineal guy. But listen, what's his name? They had a rematch. It was still close, but Taylor edged it a little bit better in the rematch, and that was that. They called it a day. That's what can happen with this Lomachenko Lopez thing. Let's have a little finality. I don't understand why that's such a bad thing.
Look, I'm gonna say this.
They scared, man. They scared.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think he's a little bit. He wants more money.
Go ahead, Virtuoso. Go ahead.
You guys hear me?
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, for those people that are saying that he's a fucking sore loser, okay, just rewatch the fight, man. Just to like try to put your biases aside and just watch the fight, man. You can tell that Loma was putting the pressure on him in the latter half of the fight. And even though I thought like Teofimo edged it out in the last round, it still begs the question. I mean, what if the decision wasn't right? Oh, well, clearly it wasn't. But based on your assessment, what if you're wrong? Maybe Teo didn't win, 7-5, that it was a draw, or maybe Loma edged it up. But the only way to prove it is to fight again. That's the spirit of competition.
Yeah, people keep bringing up the hold on. People keep bringing up the excuses, blah blah blah. But see, again, like what happens after the fight, it happens. What I'm saying is the rematch itself. You can't say, well, he's making an excuse after the fight, so no rematch. I mean, that's completely illogical.
He left the ring. He left the ring. He was a poor sport. He fucking was told to get out of the ring, and he stood over there and gave an interview. They were doing backflips in the ring, so he got out of the ring. So, what the fuck is this?
It seems to me like people are actually going after Lomachenko. Like they're just trying to find anything to call him a classless.
Oh, they jump ship. Now. Now people fucking jump ship on Lomachenko. But let me just ask you, what fight's better? What fight's better?
No, that's a good fight. Yeah, that rematch. BDA.
Pete, you said it right after the fight. You said it. Run it back. That was
you fucking right. I did.
The first thing I remember. Yeah.
Calm down, Pete. God damn.
Yeah, then why you gotta talk about my mother, man? Jeez.
He's on that TRT.
BDA, is that the same? Is that shoulder injury the same one that he had in the Linares fight? Is that a reoccurring injury? Lomachenko.
You see, that's the thing I don't like, Gonzalo. Hey. I think it's the same shoulder, which is not a good sign for the future.
Well, listen, if he's injured and he can't fight, don't fight.
Down. That's why Bob Arum wants to move on from Lomachenko because the writing's on the wall. He's breaking down physically. That's why they threw him on the fucking bus, man.
Recognize you asked the question, right? You said what fight is better? Teofimo Lopez versus Ramirez in Mexico. That's a better fight.
Yeah, maybe, man. Fight. He would have to move up in weight.
Yeah, I mean, it would be nice if they could make it happen. I don't know if Teofimo would be down for that, bro.
By the way, I would like to
see fucking Joe Louis, fucking Primo Carnera. More likely to see that fight, man.
Lennox Lewis versus Anthony Joshua now.
And by the way, we got a phone call here, fellas. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. 226, you're on the air. 226, what's on your mind? 226, you're on the air. Going once. Going once.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. What's on your mind, man?
Give me 1 second.
All right, fellas. Again, I gotta remind you, if you're gonna call in, please be ready and speak close to the microphone receiver, please, or transmitter, because otherwise we can't hear you.
No. Crack the manhole a little bit more, man. Crack the manhole.
Not too close, though. Not too close.
You guys can hear me. Just give me a sec, man. You can hear me. What are you tripping out about, man?
Dude, are you talking to Get Mask?
That's sluggish. Is that sluggish, Sam?
I think so, man. I can barely hear him.
Sluggish Sam, take the mask off, you fucking Twinkle Bell. Just take it off already.
You know what? I bet he's dressed like Machine from 8mm. Hold on, let me put a picture.
Hold on. Listen, dog. The mask is off, all right? The mask is off.
All right, take it off, man. Take it off.
That's what I'm saying, dog.
All
It
right,
is.
Ed.
But look, man. Listen, I wanna talk about the you guys saying that Tio is ducking. Is that what I'm hearing for real?
No, sorry, Bob. We're asking.
I'm saying it. What do you got to say about that? I'm saying he's ducking. What do you got to say to me?
Go ahead, Slugger.
Listen, man. Tio ain't ducking nobody. Matter of fact, listen, man. Matter of fact, the Dodgers are dodging him. You know what I'm saying?
I think I do.
That's how much people try and run away from him, man.
Are you trying to say that's why they left Brooklyn because of Tio? Is that what you're saying?
Ask again, sir. Ask me the question again.
What's with the quality of this phone calls,
myself, but I'm going to say, are you trying to say the Dodgers left Brooklyn because of Tio?
Absolutely, that's what I'm saying. They didn't listen, man. They didn't leave because LA.
Don't piss me off, Slugger Sam. Okay, talk to me like a man. Don't piss me off.
Recognize I am, but that's what I'm. But listen, on some real shit, they didn't leave because LA is better. They left because they don't want the smoke with homie, you know. But look, man, I already said it, man. There's nobody touching this guy. You know what I'm saying? I've been saying since day one, man. He's the truth, and you guys, none of you at the BDA panel believe me. None of you. You guys are all Lomo fans.
Oh, how can you say that? After all we've been through, man.
Listen, man, I would, ask me who I would favor in a rematch. Ask me who I would favor in a rematch. Go ahead, ask me, Slugger.
Go ahead.
If you care.
Who would you favor? Who would you favor in a
Lomachenko.
Me too.
Wait to disprove
that.
Look. Let me tell you something. No. I respect that answer. Listen, what did Marvin Hagler say? When you got nothing,
Nobody cares.
It's easy to wake up at 4 a.m. It's easy to wake up at 4 a.m. when you got nothing, right? I don't even got to say the quote. So this man, Lomo, is supposed to be hungry. He's supposed to, reinvent himself, whatever, grow the beard, grow the dreads, whatever you want to call it. Live like a caveman and reinvent himself. However, though, if Tio wants to have the same mindset and say, "Hey, man, I'm just as hungry as you are. I'm just as poor as you are. I'm also going to grow that beard out." Then I don't know.
What the fuck is this guy talking about, man?
He's going
Holy shit!
Listen, man.
Again, you made an excellent point, Slugger Sam.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah, Slugger Sam, you made an excellent point.
Do you need me to speak French for you? Hold on. You want me to speak French? You want me to speak Francais?
Please
I'd love to hear it, man.
Please don't.
Oh, but Butcher's not here, though. He's the one that speaks French, Italian,
Cantonese. He's the one that speaks
French. Go ahead, speak a little French for us. Speak a little frog for us. Speak a little frog for us. Go ahead.
You want some Francais?
Ah, jeez, Luis. Look, listen, Slugger, I love you, man, but we got to move on, all right, man? Take it easy, man.
Yeah, we got to move on, Slugger Sam. You're a great guy, all right? No matter what anybody says, you're a great guy.
Why do you always kick me off, BDA? Why do you always kick me off?
Because you tend to filibuster. That's what you're meandering. Every time I call you, like...
I'll tell you why. Listen. Why don't you tell everybody the truth? Everybody in Quebec hates everybody in Ontario. Just say the truth, and I'll tell you what. I'll do you a favor. I won't ever bother you again. Just say the truth.
Well, first of all, I'm not a native Quebecois. That's number one. I moved here, so it's not like I got no qualms against the English-speaking Canadians.
He's originally from Jersey.
I'm from New Jersey. I'm from New Jersey.
You guys in Quebec?
I'm currently in Quebec, and that's all I'm going to tell you.
Be honest.
I'm in Quebec right now. That's all I'm going to tell you, because I don't want you fucking tracking me down. And I imagine if Slugger Sam finds me, he's going to tie me to a chair and just recite movie quotes over and over. Go ahead, Slugger Sam.
He's going to bore you to death. He's going to bore you to your death.
He's going to throw $2 at you over and over again until you die. Hey, can you guys? Is my mic still fucked up? I'm scared that.
No, your mic is
fantastic.
You sound like you're fucking Don Imus.
Let me just talk to BDA for BDA.
Go ahead, Slugger Sam. Go ahead.
First of all, I will never step foot in Quebec because I heard that you guys are very racist towards us. So if I step foot in Quebec, I know I'm going to treat it like a dog, and I don't want that, bro. So I'm not. So don't you worry about that, bro.
No, well, listen, I heard the opposite, man. I heard the opposite. If you Quebecois and you go over there, you're gonna get fucked up. So anyway, listen, we gotta move on there. Slugger Sam, last word, man. Last word, because we gotta move on.
I'd welcome you Listen, I'd welcome you with arms if you came down here. We love you, bro.
Whose
We
arms?
love you guys.
The severed
You guys
arms
laid
of the
up.
virgins that you killed on the highway? Come on, man. I don't want that to happen. Listen, Slugger.
Oh,
I love you.
come on, don't
I
go
love
there.
you, but I
Don't go
I love you, but
there.
I love you, but I gotta let you go, man. That's the way this works. All right, take it easy.
I
Slugger.
love you, but I really don't love you. So goodbye.
Hey, listen, Joe. Don't
All
make
right,
me
take
come
it
down
easy,
to
man.
Brooklyn,
Thank you
all
for
right?
calling
I really
in.
will come down to.
Yeah, all right. You do that.
Under
We got.
20 when you say that to my face, right?
We got. I'm saying I like to give him time, but geez, Louise. All right, Kelmer, you're back on the StreamYard, I believe.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi went out, bro. My bad.
Your wife went out.
My Wi-Fi.
Oh, wife. Okay, I thought you said my wife went out, so now I can come back on the
Oh
show.
no.
Like she was.
No, you was
Okay.
right the first time.
All right. Well, listen, fellas. I don't know what else to say. Look, listen. People are saying. I mean, I know Slugger Sam is sort of being facetious a little bit, but it's saying, "Oh, you guys are Loma fans." But I'm just asking a question. Why wouldn't we want to see that fight? Like, what other than the big supposed money fight against Ryan Garcia? What's the other options for Lopez at lightweight? Everybody's talking about moving up.
The best option right now, the more likely option, and the best option right now is Lomachenko.
Of course.
Because all those other guys that you're talking about, they're not. First of all, they're in different networks. They're not making those fights right now. Even Tank and Garcia, they're just talking right now. That's all they're doing.
Isaac Cruz is like the Mexican Gervonta. He's pretty good. Doesn't hit as hard, but he's explosive. Gets the knockouts. The guy that took out Magdaleno. I would take the rematch, Big A, and I would aim for the shoulder. I would nail him to the shoulder, to that bony area. Man, and that's the way to get to Lomachenko if he is damaged good.
That's the blueprint.
Yeah, take out the shoulder, man. Take out that arm.
Yeah.
Capacitate it. That little bony area on the fucking shoulder. Nail him there.
Yeah, but the thing about Lomachenko is that he can make an adjustment on that.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, punching at a shoulder is not how you tear it, okay? But he should do it.
Yes.
Go.
Back it.
And people aren't like this, but that's look.
Precise, you're breaking up.
You're breaking up, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're breaking up, man. I don't know what it is, man. You keep breaking up.
That's
my internet provider is fucking me.
Your internet is fucking you.
Is this better?
Yeah.
Is this better?
What?
Yeah.
All right. Hold on. Americans for generations now have been neuro-linguistically fucking programmed to recoil whenever they hear a guy.
What?
He says something about people being Americans being neuro-linguistically programmed to what? To dismiss a guy based on an accent?
Recoil. To repeat. No, to recoil. The Russian language. They can't help themselves. It's not their fault. They're not racist. They've been programmed to see the guy as an enemy by Hollywood. And well,
are you breaking up, Precise? You're breaking up.
Damn it.
Sorry,
I
man.
wish this mic would work.
I want to say, fuck the internet service that's doing this to Precise. That's what I want to say.
No. You know what it is? It's those fucking settings, man.
Would you guys like to see Teofimo and Isaac Cruz?
Go on your mic settings and turn all that shit off. That's what fucks it up.
I think
it's like Donald Trump. He got his Twitter. He got his Twitter blocked. Precise Big Tech Media is interfering.
Yeah, man, maybe, man.
He got his Twitter blocked, his Facebook blocked.
Imagine they can do that to the president, that they can't do that to Precise.
Exactly.
Gonzalo, I'm only laughing, but I'm crying inside because I know if they could do that to him, they could do that to anybody.
Yeah, they'll start doing
I was
it.
listening to
Are you guys from Canada?
Renaissance.
Yeah, recognize. You can tell from his accent. He's right from Canada, man. Right, recognize.
Are you guys getting a stimulus check every month? Is that true?
What was that, Kelmer?
Are they getting a stimulus check every month?
In Canada, no, I don't think it's every month. No.
What's
I thought that's what I heard. My bad.
Oh no, well maybe
I would have to pay their bills every 2 months. They get a discount.
A discount. Hey, listen. This whole thing about this whole Lomachenko Lopez thing. I hope it works out. I hope we see something from the guy. Because again, with Lopez, like some people are criticizing him for the what's his name? The fight he's got next. I don't mind it. I think the guy's actually pretty good, but he's just gonna. I don't think he's gonna have much to hurt Lopez with. Although you never know. The other thing is, but hopefully Lopez ends up fighting some of these guys. Ryan Garcia and Tank Davis supposedly they want to fight. Haney says he wants to fight good fighters, so you never know what can happen, man. Some of these fights, we could be seeing some lightweight explosions. Are any of you looking forward to the Berchelt versus Oscar Valdez fight? Apparently, that's been announced.
I am.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I watched that
I
fight.
think Berchelt got it, but you can't. I can't. Valdez is a warrior, bro.
Yeah, he fought
That's got good fight written all over it. These guys are not afraid to trade. They're designed like that. Even in the gyms and sparring, they go into close quarters and exchange shots. And they're not huge punchers to where they can take each other's shots. And maybe down the stretch, somebody will get knocked out. And you know, Valdez, he's exciting. He's kind of like a little Gotti, you know. Even when you think he's out of the picture and he's taking too much shots, he comes from behind like he took out Berlez. And Berchelt is solid, so he's a little overrated, but he's still good enough. Good fight.
Well, let me go to listen. The chat people say Reverse Lee says that's a sexy fight. All right, I don't know what that means, but I think he means that. I think he means that's I think he means that's a good fight. Rob says Berchelt KOs him. Saint Brit says Berchelt murks him. And Rob says Valdez is not built for 130. So right there you see people saying that they don't think this fight's gonna go too far. I think it's gonna be an explosive fight. I'm with Gonzalo. Listen, like Gonzalo said, Valdez always goes down swinging, but that's the problem. I think he's gonna go down. And by the way, before we continue, shit, somebody dropped off. Okay, because we had a phone call. But yeah, listen, this Berchelt, I've been saying it for a couple of years now. Well, not a couple, but 2 years. This guy's dangerous, man. He's very
good
open
boxer,
and all that.
good puncher. He's got a little bit of everything.
Can do a little bit of a little bit of both. A little bit. He can look. Listen, he outboxed Miura. He outslugged Vargas. And then the Jason Sosa fight was the one that I really went, where's this guy? Like, this guy should be fighting at lightweight or junior welterweight. He's a fucking...
Yeah, he really put it on Sosa, man. Holy shit, bro.
That was a beating, man. A beating.
That's who Tank should have fought.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Like, Tank Davis, if Tank Davis outslugs this guy, which I think he can, because I think he hits a tad harder, and the fact that he's actually faster too, I think I would favor Tank Davis on that. But if he would have taken Berchelt out, he would have a case of having us boxing fans going, holy shit, this guy's the...
He still has a chance. I mean, this just make the fight happen after, let's say, Berchelt beats Valdez, like most of us think he will. Go, try to make that fucking fight happen.
Exactly. Why not?
And I think Tank could beat him. I think Tank is good enough to beat him, man.
And I'm thinking maybe this is the type of fight Tank Davis would love, because it's not going to be a Gamboa guy moving around the ring. It's not going to be a taller guy like Santa Cruz tagging him from the outside. It's going to be a guy trying... Well, maybe Berchelt goes crazy and tries to outbox him the way he did with Miura. But you never know, man. I mean, it could go either way. By the way, we got Guerrero de la Info on the line on the StreamYard. Guerrero, you there?
Guerrero.
Yeah, what's up?
How you doing, man?
How's it going?
Good, man. Good. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, good. I got Tank, I think, over Berchelt, but I got Teofimo over Berchelt. So see how it plays out.
Teofimo over Berchelt.
Yeah, that would be more likely the scenario too, man. That would probably... Wait, you got Teofimo over Tank, you mean? If you got Tank over Berchelt and then Teofimo over Tank? Is that what you said?
I think that fight's a little more interesting, but yeah, I got him over both those guys.
Yeah, I can see that.
I think he's staying away from Loma though, because he knows that Loma isn't going to be a slow starter in the rematch, and that second half of the fight, Loma was coming on strong, so he's going to avoid Loma at all costs.
Yeah, but you know
that might be true. That might be true. I mean, look, I'm not quick to pull the trigger and say that's definitely what's going to happen, but it might be.
You got to give Lopez props. You got to give Lopez props for winning that 12th round, man. I mean, that was you know what? We were all thinking about how the fight was going to go, and like I said, that was the element that we missed. The fact that Lopez didn't. I mean, he did gas out, but then he got his second win in the 12th round, and that's when it mattered. His father actually told him to run for it, which could have been worse for him in the long run. That's why some people were saying that maybe that's why Lopez Sr. shouldn't have gotten trainer of the year because he actually gave him the wrong advice in that last round. But hey, listen, what do I know?
Did he get trainer of the year?
I think he did get trainer of the year, right?
Wow.
For what?
I thought it was James Derrick.
Derrick James.
James
There you go.
Hold on,
Yeah.
let me check, man, because I don't want to
Derrick
be talking.
James.
I don't want to be speaking out of school.
My bad. Yeah, Derrick James.
Hold on, let me check.
James
Derrick
is a first
James
name
could have been
usually, though. It is a first name usually. You know, James would be the first name.
Yeah, exactly. It's a weird name, Derrick and then James. It's like calling somebody John Pablo or something. It's like, well,
DJ.
well, actually, no, in Spanish that would
DJ.
work. Juan Pablo. What?
DJ.
DJ. Yeah, DJ. Well, hold on a
Or
second.
like Jackson Michael.
Exactly. Yeah, like Jackson Michael's like, well, where are you going with that? 2020 Trainer of the Year. Hold on a second. The 2020 Boxing Junkie Awards. No, I'm looking for official like. Oh, it should be the World Boxing. Yeah, it is. Lopez Senior, Trainer of the Year.
Or WBC gave it to him. Is that who gives that award out?
Ring
We
Magazine.
just gave it there. That's all.
I'm
You
going
beat
with Ring.
Loma.
The thing is, they gave Loma's dad one too, just like he did with the belts. He gives the belts out, he gives the awards out. Everybody's trainer of the year.
I mean,
Thanks, Suleiman.
these are nice little trinkets to have, I guess.
He gave me one too. And listen,
I
the thing about it is,
they gave me father of the year. I won father of the year.
All right, go ahead, Pete.
Dad and father.
oh no, I was just cracking a joke about Suleiman. He's a piece of work.
No kidding, man. Yeah, that guy. Oh, by the way, now that you mentioned that Suleiman, this is why I don't follow the belts, okay? And I think this is going to give people an indication. I think most people do follow the belts, so they might not be as surprised as I was when I saw this bombshell. But I went on ESPN, right?
What kind of suppression you were going through?
They have a hold on. They have a feature here on ESPN where they tell you by division. They tell you who the champ is. I'm putting it up on the screen there on YouTube, and they give you who holds which belt. All right. So I go to lightweight to figure out who's got the belts. Okay, the WBO Teofimo Lopez Jr., IBF Teofimo Lopez Jr., WBA Teofimo Lopez Jr. Okay, makes sense. WBC Devin Haney. He's got 2 asterisks. I go, what's going on? So it turns out Gervonta Davis is the WBA regular lightweight champ, and Rolando Romero is the WBA interim champ. So here's what they've got. They've got an interim champ, they got a regular champ, and they got a WBA champ. They got 3 WBA. So that's when people say, well, if he gets stripped, he's not going to be undisputed, or he has to go for this fight to be undisputed. Fuckers, there's 3 WBA champs, man. And the WBO, which shouldn't even be counted. It wasn't counted when I was coming up back in the day, when I was making my bones. And then you got Teofimo Lopez Jr., he's the WBC franchise as well. And Ryan Garcia is the interim champ. So you got 3 WBC champs as well. Tell me again why I should pay attention to these fucking titles, man. Go ahead. Somebody.
Me too. I'm the WBC champion. Chump.
Yeah, they just made this. They're causing confusion. That's all they're doing.
Well, these guys are well marketed, so it means more money in their pockets. That's just how I see it.
That is how it is, Kelmer. That's how it is.
I see it as rewarding mediocrity. They
well,
just give a fuck.
Let me address those 2 points. Kelmer, that's you hit the nail on the head. That's what it is. It's money. That way they can just throw a belt here. Oh, sanctioning fees. Come on. Papa needs to buy his new cigarettes. And Virtuoso, that's another point. Because I was watching Carlos Mausa versus not Vince Phillips. What was the guy's name that he knocked out in an upset? Vivian Harris. Vivian Harris was looking for that Ricky Hatton fight. He was looking for a big fight. That was when 140 pounds was jam-packed. You had Ricky Hatton, Junior Witter, Costa Tszyu, Arturo Gatti, Floyd Mayweather, and Miguel Cotto was coming up too. So there was a lot of money to be made, a lot of big fights. Vivian Harris was looking for that big fight. He takes on Carlos Mausa. Fucker blows his wad in the first 2 rounds and gets knocked out by a Colombian guy who used to sacrifice chickens back in the day, okay? And Larry Merchant made a very good point during the fight. He says, the problem with all these sanctioning belts is every guy now has a belt. They all think they're superstars. And then when they don't get the money they want or they think they deserve, they get frustrated and they come out and do stupid shit like this to try to make a point. And I said, fucking Larry Merchant said it 15 years ago. It's true. That's virtuoso. That's what I'm saying. To your point, like all these belts, people, they're rewarding mediocrity. these guys that would have been contenders back in the day, they get to call themselves champions now.
Yeah.
Disgusting. Well, I mean, not disgusting because it does help them out financially too. But I mean, what are you gonna do? Hey, listen.
I don't know the first time this ever has come up for you guys, but you guys probably been watching it for longer than I have, all of you. But when I first, I've always watched boxing, but I guess maybe like when was Pacquiao Marquez 3? What was it, like in 2010?
Yeah, 2010.
Anyway, around that time frame, I started just listening to these belts and trying to get straight who these sanctioning bodies were, and this is when the Showtime and HBO. Showtime had all the Golden Boy guys, and Top Rank was with HBO before Heyman. So then I keep fucking wondering why, on this broadcast over here, we're not even addressing any kind of WBC champs. And on the Showtime broadcast, we're not addressing certain fighters that are, whatever that one is with, whoever Aram's in with, WBO or WBA, whichever one that was. And they're not even showing pictures of them. They're not ranking them. And then how the fuck can you have a mandatory? Like, how the hell is Pacquiao the WBO champ?
90 seconds.
And what happens when Thurman's the mandatory? They're going to have to fight on one of those two networks, right? They're going to have to figure this out. And then you look into it and you realize that as soon as you get a belt as soon as you have a belt, the other three sanctioning bodies take you off of their rankings. You ever notice that?
Oh yeah. That's the thing.
In other words, they're just cannibalizing on themselves. So that it gets to the point where, in a division, to have 3 top 10 lists, to have 3 rankings list of four list of rankings talking about 40 fighters, you actually need like 60 fighters because every time you put a strap on one, the other one takes them off their list.
It's a money grab, man. It's fucking money grab. It's
a money grab. Yeah. Look, the whole idea of the belt is just a marker. It's just a marker. It's like the champion. It's the last guy to win, right? So that's the champion, and the other guys. It's just a marker of the champion. So, in that sense, it helps casuals understand who's who here. We're fighting for this title. But beyond that, this undisputed thing. I mean, who gives a shit? That was a good fight. I don't give a shit if it's undisputed or not.
Like if Ryan Garcia and Tank happens, don't be surprised if WBC comes along and adds a WBC belt.
The social media belt or something like that, right? Yeah.
I mean, they did it right. They did it right before that fight. Think about that. They did it right before the fight. They gave him a franchise belt to make it 4-belt undisputed.
They're looking to give Garcia the belt. They're hoping that he could get that belt somehow without maybe facing Devin Haney.
Pete, I think a lot of people would want to see their rematch because they're curious to know if Lomachenko can step on the gas earlier. I think he can, and he will. But with that being said, will Teofimo capitalize on that and get the knockout? So it's exciting both ways because Loma is going to turn in a good performance while Teofimo is going to live to also get the knockout. So it'll be like an explosive, better fight than the first.
Yep, right. I agree with that. I agree with that, man.
Wait, so if Tank and Ryan go at it, would it be a unification fight? Because he does hold a WBA regular belt.
Well, he has the interim. He has the WBC interim, whatever the fuck that means today. But I just see that as like number 1 contender status.
Imagine
if you had contender status belt. That's the way I look at that one.
You know what this turned into boxing? It turned into a fucking Saudi Arabian family.
Shit show.
It's a monogamous relationship now, like a Saudi Arabian. He's got my 5-6 wives. Well, I mean, it's like this guy. Look, Gervonta Davis, WBA regular lightweight champ, and Rolando Romero is the WBA interim champ. And then you got another WBO. I think it was the super champ. I think that's what he used to call it. And that's Teofimo Lopez Jr. I mean, look, listen. Hopefully, hold on. Let me read a super chat here from High and Low Sports Centrum. He says the facts don't admit opinion, speculation, or point of view. Teofimo Lopez is the undisputed champ of the world. Exactly. He's the man. He's the lineal champ.
Fair enough. That's fair enough. I wasn't making that point, by the way. Whoever said that.
No, but Berchelt
wasn't arguing about it. I don't care if he's got all 4 belts or no belts.
Right, and that's what I'm saying too.
It's the best fight we can see next.
But that's what he's saying too. But I think that's what the guy's saying too. Like, listen, fuck the belts. This guy beat that guy. He's a lineal champ. He's the best. He's the guy to beat. Forget about, because I hear that from people. Like when I brought up the point of Canelo, why does he have to fight Yildirim? And people say, well, this is mandatory. at this point, do we really think Canelo can't beat Yildirim? And then people say, well, if he doesn't fight him, he can't fight for Undisputed. I don't give a fuck. He's the man. He just beat the man. Who cares about Undisputed?
That's just some shit they tell you, man. That's just some shit they tell you when it's convenient.
That's
just cut
something
the
to
shit, man.
You know what it is? It's something for us to talk, for YouTubers for us, like us to talk about. But I don't want to talk about it because it's disgusting.
That's right. If we choose to, it's for casuals. So I don't want to hear. Maybe I'm just I'm too tired. I'm in too bad a mood. But I don't want to fucking answer to Suleiman's fucking sales pitch. I don't want to hear it or talk about it. The thing is, the only reason I say Cambosa has the right to.
Hold on. Let Pete finish. Go ahead, Pete.
The only reason I say that the next fight if it's Cambosa next, then technically he was in line for whoever won that fight that night. So let's let him have that. That's a mandatory. That's fair enough. But to all you Teofimo fans that for whatever fucking reason they just came on or are pulling out contracts now, we're throwing in somebody's fate. I don't have to fight you because you didn't put it in the contract. Number one, you do that when you're taking a voluntary. That's when a champion's fighting a voluntary challenger. They're putting that in there because they don't want it disrupted. If they give you a fight and you're not even entitled to it, you're not a mandatory. That's common. That's very, very common. That's why it was in the AJ Ruiz fight. That's where you see it. Furthermore, you're not going to see a promoter put a rematch clause in and tie his own fucking hands. You understand that? Does everybody understand that? That's why Aram would never put a rematch clause in one of his in-house fights. Why would he fucking hamstring himself?
Exactly.
No one would ever do that. And neither would Heyman. Or neither would any of them with half a fucking brain, So,
like that. Pete Scale
tell me a better
Promotions.
fight. Tell me a better fight. Excuse me. What did you say, Gonzalo?
Pete Scalebender Promotions. You're sounding good, bro.
He said, "Well, they say you
got my eyes open.
You made up you make some good points there, Pete. Now somebody else was gonna jump in. I think it was Kelmer or.
Oh, I had a question for the panel. Who do you think Tank Davis is gonna fight next? Most likely, like realistically.
Well, you know what? Speaking of Tank Davis, we've had a guy here who's had good things to say about Tank Davis all along. I think it's Stu. Stu, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me properly?
Yeah, I can hear you properly.
Oh, that's right, because the settings on Discord's changed.
No kidding. Listen, thank you for being on. Who would you rather see Tank Davis fight next?
Well, I'm just thinking like who could he fight next? Because I don't think he's gonna fight Ryan. Like, to be realistic, I think that's too good for boxing fans.
Well, Stu, what do you think?
I'd like to see him fight Teofimo Lopez. I think Tank. What does he get from beating Garcia? A young talent, up and coming talent that just got nearly sparked out cold by Luke Campbell. He's not really getting anything from that, and I'd like to see Garcia go and learn on a few things, first before he fights the big guy. So if I was in charge of it, I'd be looking to fight Teofimo Lopez. I mean, he's been calling Lomachenko out for how many years? Tank never wanted any part of it. So why don't you go and fight the guy that did beat Lomachenko? No excuses, man.
Listen, man, this lightweight division is packed, and that's without even mentioning the guy we just talked about a little bit briefly, Miguel Berchelt. Good fights to make. They have to happen. I don't want this to be another one of those situations where this guy goes to fight for the PBC and ends up fighting, guys that he's already that have been recycled thousands of times. Because Stu, the reason why we brought this up is because there's great potential here for the lightweight division, but we already have Teofimo Lopez insisting on not giving Lomachenko a rematch, which makes, some of the, I asked here for people to come in here and give us a good reason why the rematch shouldn't happen. And all I've heard was, well, Lomachenko's a salty loser. Lomachenko didn't put in a rematch clause, which sort of invalidates what happened in the ring. So we haven't heard any legitimate reasons why the rematch shouldn't happen. And so that's a red flag, because you start thinking, well, wait a minute. So what do these guys want then? They don't want to fight the best? Because there's a shitload of fighters now. But, Ryan Garcia needs to prove himself. He says he wants Tank Davis, so okay, make that fight happen. Devin Haney already thinks he's the best. Teofimo Lopez now, he doesn't seem to want to fight Lomachenko, but he doesn't want to move up to 140 anymore as well. So, I mean, it's just, I don't know what's going on here with these fighters. It seems like boxing is getting back to business as usual, which is linger on, make us wait for the big fights, and we all go fuck ourselves.
Well, Teofimo's probably looking at
I don't know
like
what.
this.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Stu.
Teofimo's probably looking like this. You don't win the lottery twice, and Lomachenko's the sort of guy that he makes adjustments. It's going to be a lot harder fight for Teofimo's not stupid. He caught Lomachenko the worst he could have caught him. He got a good win, and maybe he's thinking,
yeah, whatever. Mike Tyson's a nigger.
Well, I mean, that's not exactly, a fucking scientific thing there, Steven. Come on now.
Mike Tyson's a fucking piece of shit, and he's a nigger, and he's a rapist.
Wait a minute. Did you follow the whole case about Mike Tyson there,
Hold
Steven?
on, what? He's a fucking nigger.
What's this got to do with Teofimo Lopez? Who is this talking anyway?
Shut up, you fucking...
All right. Listen, the whole thing about Mike Tyson, we're
Who
going
is
to do
this
an
fucking
episode.
idiot? No, who is this fucking dipshit?
Nah, he's gone. He's gone. Listen, we're gonna do a Mike
Yeah,
Tyson
of course
episode.
he's gone.
We're
He's a
gonna do.
fucking coward. Says
We're
he's
gonna
got
do.
peas and chips.
We're gonna do a Mike
Pussy.
Tyson episode because Slugger Sam was the one that called in initially a couple of weeks ago or months ago. He said, "Look, listen, Mike Tyson was there was some shenanigans there in that whole trial, and if you read his biography, now some people are gonna say, well, obviously he's gonna defend himself. It's his biography. But what I'm saying is, look at the facts. Look at what happened around that whole thing." And you tell me fucking Mike Tyson really did assault that girl. There's a lot of question marks around the whole case. So we should do a special episode on that one of these days. But anyway, go ahead. We were talking about the Lopez Lomachenko fight, a rematch. Some people are saying, look, did Lomachenko win? Did Lopez win that fight legitimately? I think he did. I had him winning when the first time I watched the fight. I haven't rescored again. But why shouldn't that rematch happen? It was a very close fight. I thought it was entertaining. Some people said it was boring. I thought I was on the edge of my seat because of what was at stake and what could be on stake as well here. So, you guys tell me, what am I missing here?
It could be a high risk, low reward fight again.
Teofimo's thinking about the future, and he's got a great promoter that's probably telling him that too. And it is maybe short term a low. What is it? Low reward, high risk, or high risk, low reward. There you go. But
Yeah,
I
that's
think
bullshit, man.
no, it is bullshit. I agree. I say that.
And also, Aram's not telling him that. Aram's not telling him not to fight. He'll make that fight tomorrow. He'll make that fight tomorrow. Why wouldn't Aram not make that fight tomorrow? Come on, man.
I don't think it's so much Aram. I think it's just the way he's looking at it.
You said his promoter.
His promoter's talking to him in his ear. Yeah, you got big fights coming up next. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some big fights in the future you could have.
Yeah,
the Ryan Garcia
which is
fight.
True.
That's sort of the
Yeah, and then that goes to his ear, and he says, "Man, Lomachenko maybe is not as easy as I talk the way I talk about it."
I'm starting
that's
to see that
definitely
one.
true. I agree with that, but let's not.
Listen, I'm starting to see that point of view.
You don't give this bullshit so much attention, Like
I'm starting to see that point of
view. He got the last time.
I'm starting to see that point of view, man. I'm starting to see the point of view you guys are talking about, which is low risk. High risk, low reward. If he's got a bigger money fight, potentially a bigger money fight there against Ryan Garcia, why would he go up there against Lomachenko? But let's not twist our panties here. The guy did great numbers. Both Lomachenko and Lopez did great rings when they fought. So it's not exactly a fight that was only for hardcore boxing fans.
But
now,
he was
BDA,
also underpaid,
BDA,
though.
Would you sign the rubber match? If would you put that in the contract? If Loma wins, I get another shot.
I think that's what more likely would happen. Yeah.
It's always a negotiation, a rematch clause for whoever has to accept it or give it away. But once again, Bob Arum's going to be very slow to tie his own hands into a subsequent fight. Why would he limit himself into it? Why would he advise either one of those two to sign a rematch clause? If you think that Lomachenko turned around and listened to Teo's dad and then turned to Igis Klimas and said, take the rematch clause out of there, and then Igis Klimas ran over there and did it. If you believe any of that shit, then you're just fucking
I
naive.
don't believe.
You understand?
But listen, all of that aside, like I keep saying, what happened in the ring? Close fight. Why not
High
see
drama.
it again?
High
Yeah,
drama.
why not? Why not see it again? Well, I can only look. One guy wants to fight the rematch, the other guy doesn't. What does that tell you? Like that's what I'm starting.
Unless there's a better fight. Unless there's a better
Yeah, but is
fight.
it Bob? Is it Bob
Let's hear
though?
it.
Because Bob is getting to the stage now where he's starting to pie off his fighters that are not making him money. Like Crawford, he wants rid of Crawford. He's losing money with Crawford, one of the best fighters in the world. Lomachenko, yes, he's a draw in the UK. Yes, he's a draw in Europe. To put him in America, he can barely sell a bingo hall out.
Well, we
And
can't
this is the
really
problem.
trust Juice too, because you're a top ranked fanatic. Oh no, wait a minute. Are you a top ranked fanatic? Fuck, I forget.
Yeah, I like top rank, but I'm just saying, if he's willing to fucking throw Crawford under the bus, he's going to do it to Lomachenko as well. And I think he's probably seeing Teofimo as a bigger moneymaker to him. So, and he's not stupid, Bob. He knows that Lomachenko's not going to make the same mistakes twice. Let's just say that.
Well. Here's the thing, guys. Like, people like to. It's a one sentence thing, and then when you start explaining it and getting into it, if you spend the time to look into it or think about it, which people don't like to do, or listen to the explanation, I know people's eyes glaze over, but bear with me. Okay, look. The problem with Crawford, the situation that he's in, is that he has no other welterweights that are good enough fight for anybody to be satisfied with, right? Let's just say PBC has the welterweights except for Crawford. And regardless of whose fault you think it is, he's not able to make this fight for some fucking reason. If he had another welterweight over here, let's just say Thurman was over here, or Porter. If Porter was a top rank fighter, and for some reason he wasn't making that, he'd make that fight as soon as he possibly could. As soon as both guys were ready and willing, he'd make it. And if it was a close fight, you think he'd sit there? You think Aaron would sit there with Porter, an obvious good first fight, and a top ranked fighter with no other options over in PBC? You think he'd sit there and fuck around and talk about making Thurman or making Spence or no, he would fucking put Porter, two of his fighters, and put another show on. I mean, bringing up Crawford's a good point. He's not in that situation with the lightweights. He's got two good lightweights, probably the two best in the whole division, I think.
Yeah.
I think Teo and Loma are the two best in the division. So he happens to have the two best in the division. He'll make that fucking fight. Low risk, high reward. Hold on. The risk is less now for Teo. If he loses this fight, Gonzalo's right, whether it's in the contract or not. He's going to get a third fight. If you see a second fight that's highly competitive, no matter which one win, he will run it back again, just like he did with Marquez and Pacquiao.
You bring up a good point, because I'm not
I disagree.
Reckon I said that he. Well, there you go. Go ahead, Reckon.
No, I just wanted to disagree. That's all.
Well, you said that you think Loma, or was it precise that you guys believe Loma just wipes the floor with Lopez? I don't agree with that. I think
No,
Lopez,
I didn't say that.
Okay, you didn't say that. Okay.
Wait, you say in the rematch, right?
In a rematch, yeah.
No, I would look. Let's see what happens, but maybe I'll probably favor Teofimo.
See, I wouldn't, but sides are split, and that's fine. Everybody's got their own opinion.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You see Teofimo walking him down and blowing him out? No.
No.
No one in their right really mind does. You follow me? Like no one really fucking.
But what I'm saying
is that this kid is Lomachenko. I say he's a kid because he's way younger than me, but he's aging and he's breaking down a little bit, and he's the smaller guy on top of that. But of course, he's good enough that I wouldn't be shocked if that fight happens and Loma comes out victorious. I would not be shocked at all. But yeah, look. The point is it worth having another fight? And I say, yeah, it is. It's worth having.
Is it worth it? Is it doable? Yes. Is it worth it? Yes. Is it?
Yeah.
Will it be entertaining? Yes. Is it about a 50-50? Let's just call it 50-50 fight. Even though I think Loma would win, yes. Is it possible? Definitely. Is there another better fight out there? Just for 1 second, forget about the divisions. Like, forget about
if you want to talk
about and Haney. I still think it's the best fight in the division. Still,
I still and I agree with you. You know why? The reason I agree is because if you're talking about who do most people think are the two best fighters in that weight class, it comes down to them too. So yeah, it's the best fight to make.
I don't think it's about being scared. I mean, it's about it. They're going to get paid. I mean, ESPN stepped up for that. That was on free ESPN. If y'all remember, that was they stepped up and paid for that fight. You know, and you know what? It's just this. It's just too much shifting around on Teofimo's end. It's just too much shifting around. Again, I'm moving up after this fight. Then he won, and then everyone wants him to fight Haney. Now he's the email champ. I'm not fighting him. He fucking not like we'll make it. Not we'll put it down. I'll beat his ass. Nothing. No, I don't have to fight him. Well, how about Tank? Nah, Tank's too short. No, this he's fighting the fucking
you know what, man?
Leo Santa Cruz. Fuck him.
I think that's just. I think that's just, then I think that's just his shtick then, that he wants to denigrate everybody. But eventually because look, he fought what's his name, Comey. He fought Lomachenko. He was only 22 when he fought Lomachenko. So the guy is willing to step in there. I'm not gonna call him a coward, but so it could be it could be a
definitely
situation.
Not a coward.
Yeah, so it could be a
situation. Him for taking the fight. Props. We were saying that before the fight. We said that, regardless of who we predicted or who we.
Absolutely.
I give him credit for taking that. That's a big step up.
So that's why I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe that's his, like you said, maybe that's his shtick. Maybe he it's just that social media generation where fuck this guy, fuck that guy, but eventually
he's part of that. He's part of that. That's the problem that you see. For people like us, he's weird, right? Because he's part of that whole thing. But to his peers, he's like A-okay. Everybody likes him. They like they like everything he does.
I'm not even talking necessarily about Teofimo.
You know what?
He's not scared, obviously. I like the way he answers questions. He answers questions. He conducts himself all right, man. After the fight, that post fight was good. He's come out. I can't argue with anything you say. He's told Wilder to stop crying and get back in the ring. He's his stance on things is not that far off. His dad's a fucking trainer, and it's his father.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
He's an overbearing dad, and he's yapping. He's saying whatever he wants to say. He's handling it like Danny Garcia does. Just let him say what he wants to say. I don't fucking.
But you know what?
They have a similar. That's a good point, Pete. They have a similar relationship. It seems like on the surface, Danny Garcia, his father with Teofimo and his. Yeah,
we all got a dads. You know what I'm saying? They say shit, and sometimes you look at your friends, you look at your brother, and just like roll your eyes. Whatever. Maybe he was right. It's irrelevant.
I picked up a few things of what you were saying, Pete, and it's kind of a good idea. That the best thing that could happen for Lomachenko is that if these young superstars in the making are dancing around their promoters on making these fights, it's going to leave room for an in-house fight between Lomachenko and Teofimo to take place again. And it's like you said, kind of like the PBC, they got the welters on lockdown. Well, they got two. This is the best fight that could happen, and they could run it back to where inside the bubble, in-house, it would make good revenue if the rematch sells big. And why not make a third while you're at it?
If there's it's like Pacquiao and Marquez. I love those fights. They're all good fights. I don't give a shit. Yeah. I love Pacquiao. He got knocked the fuck out. It's still a good. The fourth fight was still good. It was still high drama.
The third fight was boring, but the three fights, the other three fights were a lot of drama, boy.
I thought the third fight was fascinating. That's just a chess match. It's a 50-50. All those fights.
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying, but it wasn't. It didn't live up to the first two fights, right? Like they were.
There you go. Okay, well, then there you go. I mean, the scorecards were fucked up. I don't care about any of that. The fucking fight was hyped. It was fucking hyped, and it delivered. The fourth fight, I don't want to see Manny. I don't want to see him walk into a punch like that. But listen, they'll keep making that fight. They were talking about making a fifth one.
Yeah,
and
it was Marquez that said, "All right, enough is enough."
Yeah, people are bitching, but it's like, what's a better fight? You want Algieri? What do you want? You want fucking you want Brandon Rios?
Forced to do right. He was basically he wanted the rematch, and Marquez just didn't want it.
Yeah, it wasn't right away, but it got brought up, and people get all crazy and want to shit on it. But it's like, okay, all right, shit on it. Who's a better fight? What you got? Tell me quit bitching and tell me what do you got? Who's better?
I mean, there's a lot of
Bradley 3 times.
They're not going to happen.
Say what?
there's a lot of good fights. Sorry, recognize. There's a lot of good fights,
Right.
but they're not going to happen. Teofimo, Ryan, Tank, all those are good fights because people know them, right? But they're not going to happen.
Right.
Those are
It's not
future
impossible
fights.
because that's everybody's comeback. Oh, it's possible. You could fucking do. All right. Yeah, it's possible. But let's just
Look, when
recognize a pattern here. Let's just be realistic. The sun might not come up tomorrow, but it's going to come up tomorrow.
yeah,
I'm not
more likely,
100%, but it's going
more
to come
likely
up.
it
It'll be
is.
there.
Yeah.
It'll be there.
Look,
Until something changes. Let's go forward.
people forget this. When Sugar Ray Leonard fought Tommy Hearns the first time, you know what their ages were? I could give it to you. 25 Sugar Ray Leonard or 24, and Tommy Hearns was either 22 or 23.
He was the youngest one, right?
Yeah, they were young. They got in
Hearns-
there. They were both champions. Sugar Ray was the more of a recognizable name, but Tommy Hearns was just as recognizable in terms of like the welterweight division at the time. He was a champion. They both went in there. I think Sugar Ray Leonard already had a loss to Roberto Duran, and Tommy Hearns was undefeated. But they made it happen. They're like, hey, listen, we want to get paid. I don't even know how much they got paid, but they
right, exactly.
Right. They just saw it as, look, they're both in the way. Everybody's talking about them as two best guys. Make it happen.
Hey, let me get
Let
the
me-
people
let me
from
ask you guys a question.
Hold
I'm
on.
sorry, go
Let
ahead,
me,
BDA.
yeah, let me
Sorry.
just real quick get the people from the StreamYard. So, which fight would you like? Let's go in order. Guerrero de la Info, Virtuoso, and Kelmer. Which fight would you guys rather see next for Teofimo Lopez? Like Guerrero de la Info. How about you, man?
Well, for Teofimo, I'd like to see him against either Haney or Tank.
Haney or
But I
Tank?
wouldn't
Okay.
mind I wouldn't mind the Lomachenko rematch either.
All
I wouldn't mind seeing those fights that Guerrero just mentioned. Yeah. I definitely would like to see those fights.
And that's a fair stance, by the way. That's just because I want to see it next. That's a fair way to say it. That's a good fight, but I'd like to see this and that Haney and Tank. So he's keeping it real. I got a guy in the chat here that says Loma should just retire. This is the shit that they were saying they've been saying since this fight. Loma should retire. He's done. He's finished. What? He should go back down to 130 and just fucking go fight Berchelt and dominate down there. He's too small. Don't worry about Lomachenko. Don't fucking worry about him.
Pete,
and when he should
before
retire.
Before I get to Virtuoso, I just want to give you guys a little snippet. Back in 2006, 2008, Pacquiao had gone through. Remember, in 2006, he's gone through Morales, and then he beat up Larios in a 12-round decision, and he was looking fantastic. Then in 2007, he ran into Solis. I forget his first name, but he had another brother. But this guy was
Orlando
long.
Solis?
Orlando? Yeah,
no.
I think it was.
No. Was it? No.
Anyway,
No.
he was a tall guy, undefeated Mexican. Gave him some problems. Actually stunned him in the fight. Then he went 12 rounds with Barrera.
Coloradito Solis.
Yes, well, I think that was it. Then he went 12 rounds with Barrera in a rematch, and Barrera just danced around the ring and made it the distance. And a lot of people thought Pacquiao was going to stop him again. No. Then he struggled against Marquez in the beginning of 2008. And I remember reading the magazines and the message boards, and people were like, man, Pacquiao's slowing down, man. I think it's about, he started off very young, so it's about time to call it a career. And then look at what happened in that same year, 2008. So Pete makes a good point when he reads comments like that, like, he should retire, this and that. That's just the natural reaction a lot of guys have when a guy starts underperforming.
It's a very right now reaction. It's like they just look, dude, guys throughout the history of boxing, I mean, how many times Roberto Duran was in situations like that where they were like, yo, he looks done. And he came out there and pulled off a big win, right? Remember he got beat by that, I forget his name, I think he was from the UK, kind of like a journeyman. He beats Roberto Duran. Roberto Duran goes and beats the shit out of, what was the big guy? Davey Moore. So it just tells you.
Recognize.
Yeah.
Recognize you're talking about Kirtland Lang, yeah?
There you go. Him. That guy. Remember that guy he beat Roberto Duran. He beat him.
Probably because he was partying a lot, sleeping around different women. You know how they say your legs go for, when you sleep around and shit like that.
Yeah, but
drinking.
the guy was sleeping around even when he was like beating the shit out of dudes. You know what I'm saying? That was just who he was. He just had a bad, just boxing is, the thing that we I guess we love about boxing, or we should,
is that boxing's unpredictable. The guy, you can go in there in a fight that everybody thinks you're going to win, and then you lose. That doesn't mean your career's over.
No,
And
come
that's
on,
what.
man.
Yeah, it's just dumb.
And listen, let's keep it real. The people that are saying this about Loma don't give a shit about Loma. They don't fucking advising him to go back down to 130, and they don't give a shit about him if he's done or not. If he got back in there and Tio knocked him the fuck out, if they really thought that could happen, they'd want to see him do it.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying is, like,
Lomachenko. He went in there. Now you respect him, right? But when he was
now he's a great champ. You know, he was exposed. He was fucking fucking his cockiness got to the best of him. He was scared. He almost got knocked the fuck out in the 12th round. He walked straight forward. Tio could not stall. He could not do anything that his dad told him to do because this guy wasn't even taking any angles. He was taking a fucking 0-degree angle straight at him. And when a guy's doing that, you got to stand there and throw punches. Lomachenko, until the last second of the fight, he ate every fucking punch Tio could fucking throw at him. He couldn't miss. It's high drama. You know what I'm saying? The score, the winner of the fight was correct. I think.
You know what? Fuck my question for Churro. So what do you think about what these guys just said about that?
I wasn't hearing much about it, but I just wanted to add to what Recognize is saying. It's like people like that are so quick to really judge a fighter based on a loss. They don't take in context what really happened, during the fight. That's why I say, if you're biased, and you think you're so smart, you think that this is, that this was a fucking blowout. Watch the fight again. Again, look, this fight is still the best fight to make at 135. Tank versus Garcia. I'm like, that's not gonna happen for a while now. Okay. That fight, they're just building that fight up. They're talking shit to each other. Okay. Haney, he's left out the loop. I'm sorry for that guy, man. I'm sorry that Garcia fucking dubbed him. But hey, that's just how it is in boxing, man. People be ducking each other, and
people be ducking each other.
Yeah, exactly.
Well said.
Listen, that fighting the winner of Ramirez and Josh Taylor, that's gonna take a while also. I mean, and you're gonna fight your mandatory, in Australia, and he doesn't have a problem with making 135. I don't understand this rhetoric about I can't make, he can't make weight. Oh, this and that. I'm like, no, he makes the weight comfortable. So yeah, that's still the fight to make. These close fights, man, begets rematches.
And I want to be fair too, man. I want to be fair. Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Pete. That's the problem with boxing. A guy gets one decent win in the division, and boxing fans are trying to push him up to the next division before he's even cleaned out the one he's in. I mean, look, let Teofimo settle into this 135. If he's making the weight, he's obviously making it well because he beat Lomachenko. You don't beat Lomachenko if you weight trained.
Exactly.
I mean, he's obviously good at the weight. And why would you want to move him up when he's when he's got big fights at 135? I mean, you could just move. The thing is, you can keep moving the guy up to 205 before he gets to the limit, and then he starts getting knocked the fuck out like Chocolatito. At the end of the day, Chocolatito got knocked out because he just kept going up fighting guys that was just far too small to fight. And eventually one's going to catch up to you. And that's the problem with Lomachenko. Look at the size difference in there. I mean,
look at Roman Gonzalez, Stu. People, when he got knocked out, they were like, yo, he should just retire, get out of here. These guys are going to beat him. Look where he's at right now.
Yeah. The thing is, this is what happens when you keep pushing the guy up the divisions too quick. He ends up getting knocked the fuck out. You've got to let him acclimatise to the division, settle into the division, get comfortable at the weight.
And Stu, I would even say this: you keep testing yourself, even within your own weight class. One of those guys is going to beat you. You keep fighting fight after fight after fight. Top 10 guys, top 5 guys. You're going to lose one.
Well, that's the other thing that people kept saying after Lopez beat Lomachenko. People were like, "Well, he should just move up now because he already beat the number 1 guy." And I'm thinking that's the new line of thinking now. Oh, you beat the best, now move up. Well, you beat one guy. What happened to staying in the division?
New age
and
boxing
waiting?
fans.
Yeah, that's the new
BDA.
age. It's the Instagram, TikTok. Hey, move up now.
Well,
Let's go.
not only that, BDA, because he beat the unified or undisputed guy. It's kind of like Crawford when he garnered all the belts during when the division was weak. But here he got all the titles. If he gets beaten, the guy that beats him will take all the titles away from Teofimo. Where would you rather lose him like that or pass him over, saying I got to the top of the mountain? But
I
it's
would
not
rather
exactly
lose him.
like I said.
But
not
He's doing
exactly, but
neither.
just a little bit, a little bit.
Because I understand your point, Gonzalo. But what I'm saying is that's the other problem with the belts. Oh, he has to unify. He doesn't have to do shit. He has to be the best. Like, look, Carlos Monzon beat Nino Benvenuti, and then he made 14 successful title defenses. He wasn't talking about, well, I gotta unify. I don't think the WBA even existed back then, or I forget which one it was. I think WBC and WBA. But the point is, he stayed in their 14 title defenses. He beat, a lot of those 14 guys weren't great, by the way. I think there were only like 3 or 4. But that's the point is, you beat everybody that's coming up because when you're fighting at your mandatory, you're the best, right? And you find the next couple of guys in the lightweight division, they're getting up for you. You have to get up for them too, and that's not easy to do. So that's what Lopez right now. He's fighting this guy who's a good fighter, Kombucha. He's quick. Now Lopez has to get up for this guy, whereas this other guy knows, oh shit, I'm fighting the guy who beat Lomachenko and who's got power.
Yep.
He has to motivate himself, and Lopez has to keep up with the guy in motivation and not be lackadaisical in training. Because if he lacks off in training, this guy, you never know what can happen. Maybe he outworks him.
And to be fair, he's never shown that. He trains his ass off. He's in good shape. He's a big kid. He's young.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's Pete. That's what I'm saying. That's the ultimate. Hold on. That's the ultimate test. That's the ultimate test. Can you notch 8, 9 successful title defenses without getting into that? Because it happens to every boxer. We've seen it. The money gets to them, or it's the women, or it's the partying, the booze, whatever. Or something will oftentimes get to a fighter. So that's the ultimate test. Can you stay in one division and keep notching these defenses and not having lackadaisical performance?
I heard he moved to Arkansas.
Yeah. He got
That's
into a hurricane.
listen. I know that's a kind of an odd place for a kid who's from New York. Usually they move to like somewhere like Florida or some shit like that. But yeah, maybe that's so. Maybe he wants to be more disciplined.
Right.
Yeah. I got nothing wrong with what he's done so far.
That's a boring state.
Yeah, he got into it with a hurricane too, Kelmer. Apparently, he survived the hurricane.
Yeah,
He had to go
Arkansas,
into the
if you want to,
Oh, okay,
if you want to live a quiet life, then Arkansas is the place to be. There's absolutely fuck all there.
Hey, there's nothing. Hold on, I know a lot of great people from Arkansas. Come on now.
Listen,
I love how Stu from the UK. He's from the UK. He knows America.
I've got a friend
but
that
those
I've
states are
started
like,
speaking
yeah, they're dangerous with the hurricane and stuff.
Tornadoes, I meant.
Yeah, go ahead, Stu.
Go ahead, Stu. Yeah.
I've got a friend, right, that I started speaking to on the internet, and obviously on Facebook. He's an American guy from Arkansas, and this girl I went to school with, like, I've been since I was about 5 years old. She's all right. She ain't nothing special. Don't get me wrong, but she's all right. And she inboxed me and said, "Oh, I like your American friend." So I passed on the message and thought nothing of it. Innit? I passed on the message. He fucking married her. He's living in England now. I went to see him the other day. He fucking married that girl, man. He got together, married her, and now he's living in England. He's living about 20 miles.
He has you to thank for that.
He said to me, "Do you know what?" He said he'd never go back to America. He loves England.
Nice. Well, he owes you something. You introduced him to his future wife.
Well, this is it. I took a drive down there to see him in it, but he's a bit of a sim. His missus kept bossing him around. I had to fucking step in. I said, "You need to give you fucking." I go, "You need to give your gob a rest. You do. You fucking give me an earache. Don't shut the fuck up." I told him, man.
In the lightweight, who's the best of all time?
Lightweight?
Duran, Pernell Whitaker. Yeah, Pernell Whitaker. Then
Aaron Pryor.
If you look at this top 10 list,
well, 140, but yeah.
If you look at this top 10 list, once you get past Duran and Pernell Whitaker, you start going to some fucking guys from the 1930s, man, or even from the 1910s. Like that's how obscure it can be. But yeah, number 1 and number 2.
Alexis Arguello.
Well, I don't know how many.
Arguello was a great at 130.
Featherweight.
He was at 130.
Featherweight.
He didn't really notch a lot of defenses at lightweight, I believe.
No, he was the best at super featherweight.
So yeah, that was another one. Cesar Chavez, Roberto Duran, Pernell Whitaker. Look, I'm
So
not gonna go
would
too
you add
in the olden
Teofimo
days
there?
because I have
Like,
to be honest with you. I didn't really follow those guys. I never
Tony
watched any of their
Casanori,
fights.
one of the old ones.
But the guys that come to mind is the ones that I just mentioned, man, as the great. And I know he only had one fight as a lightweight at 135, and that was against David Diaz. But Manny Pacquiao looked amazing when he fought at 135, bro.
Oh yeah,
That
yeah.
one fight.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. If you go, I go to boxing scene here, top 25 lightweights of all time. They have Duran number one, which is pretty much unanimous. Then you got Benny Leonard from the 1911 to 1932, his career. So that's why you started losing me. I'm sorry. Joe Gans, see again, 19th century. He was born. Actually, was he born or he's
He's good. I saw him on HBO Live.
Okay, Ike Williams. I should have known that. My fucking memory. And then you got, like you said, Gonzalo, Tony Canzoneri, Carlos Ortiz, Henry Armstrong.
Yeah, Puerto Rico.
But see, that's the thing, though. If you want to say who's the best lightweight or the best this or the best that, they have to notch a lot of title defenses. It can't just be, I dropped by, got one win, and then I fucked off.
And BDA, here's the thing, right? I didn't mean to cut you off. Roberto Duran is considered the greatest lightweight of all time, and well deserved too. But guess who he lost to? His first loss ever.
It was
Esteban de Jesus, a guy who was coming up in weight to fight him.
Oh, he was coming up in weight? I didn't know that.
That's right. He was.
Listen,
he
the
was
only reason that Duran's on that list. Oops, sorry.
Yeah. But you see,
the only reason Duran's on that list to say
and
speak to
and
BDA
Roberto Duran deserves to be on that list. Is they didn't hold it against him because they understand boxing. You keep fighting guys.
You know my problem with Duran, though, recognise. This is my one problem with Duran.
Yep.
The second fight with Leonard.
Okay, but we're talking lightweight here. We're talking lightweight, man.
Yeah.
No, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're talking about Duran in general. I've always liked Duran, one of my favourite fighters, but I can never get that Leonard second fight out of my head, sort of thing.
A lot of people think he threw that fight.
welterweight?
Yeah, but he's saying that as a whole, that's why he never really got with Duran.
Okay.
The thing is, the only reason that Duran's
Henry Armstrong has to be in the conversation. He has to be. But look,
did Duran ever say why he quit in the? Because I heard variations. Some say that he was partying. Other people say he had cramps. Other people say that he was just frustrated with Leonard.
The promoter showed up with the.
His excuse was he had to take a shit. He said that he had to take a shit. I remember that. That was
The promoter showed up with the contract like a few days. I don't know if a few days or a week, but very short time before that took place, where he had to dramatically drop the weight. That's one of the reasons.
Yeah, but Duran was walking around thinking he was El Chapo. I mean,
yeah.
The guy did not train for that fucking fight, and he did. It's mind. Look, this is it, man. People don't realize how important it is to be in the right place mentally when you go in a boxing ring. It doesn't matter how good you are, how fit you are, how strong, how hard you hit. If you're in the wrong place mentally, you're going to get found out quickly.
True.
Do you know what I mean? And Duran, I mean, look, I don't blame Leonard for fighting like that because Leonard went toe to toe with one of the best brawlers ever to grace a boxing ring, and you got to give him credit for that. And he fucking put up a great show. So why would he go and do it again and lose? So he knows he can't brawl with Duran. So he tried to. Oh, it was a stinker, wasn't it? But
so go ahead.
It is what it is. Go ahead, bro.
So to add Teofimo in the one of the great lightweights, what does he have to do? More defensive.
Oh, he got to do a lot more.
Oh, mate. I mean, look. It's nowhere in the conversation with these guys right now. I mean,
that's
come on,
correct.
He's had one good win for fuck's sake. I mean, let's calm down here.
Well, he's off to a good start, though. Let's put it that way. I mean, he does.
You got to make the determination when they're done, though.
I've seen a lot of fighters have good starts and having terrible finishes.
They fall short. Yeah, they fall
But you got to make this determination in fairness to Teofimo at the end of his career. You're going to look back and make this determination. The problem is the difference right now, just mentality-wise, is a guy like Duran. Yeah, the second Sugar Ray fight, of course, but he tells you as much. I mean, you fucking see him. He's down in Panama. He's 200 fucking pounds. He's eating like a fucking maniac.
Jesus.
He was unprepared for the fight. You know what I'm saying? If you had to show up for work 2 times a year, and you have an off day at work, you're fucked.
You gotta
But
jump
but
in
but,
front
but
of
after that he went.
I
Duran. I mean,
think that weight cut
But he
really
went all the way to
Duran would
65 after that. 68. He
Yeah,
fought
but the thing is with
Barkley.
Duran,
Yeah.
Duran would turn up. Duran would turn up and if he don't fancy it, he's getting beat. And he's one of them fighters. If he just doesn't fancy it, then he stinks the joint out. I mean, Kirtland Lang. I mean, he was a decent fighter, but he had a terrible chin. He was an alcoholic, a coke addict. I mean, let's be real. I mean, Duran. He had no business beating Duran. I mean, it's funny enough because Steve Brunt went to go and see Kirtland Lang because he's living on the streets now. He sleeps on a bench. Yeah,
That's a shame.
And he's an alcoholic. He's just a tramp, isn't he, on the street? And sad to see. But then he went to say that Duran went on to make $20 million after that loss, and this guy sleeping on the bench. I mean, just shows you. I mean, just defeats don't mean. If you're fighting the best, defeats don't mean a lot. That's why Duran went on to do great things still and
That's
made a
my
lot of money.
point. That's the difference. What I was saying was,
yeah.
the reason Duran's being spoke about right now, 30 years later, is because they weren't fucking talking about, you know, all this fucking around and they negotiated for their fight, for their purses, yeah. But look, he got paid to go into the second fight with Sugar Ray. You watch these documentaries, you want to punch Sugar Ray Leonard in the face. The way he talks about it, he's like, I just looked at him and I knew he wasn't ready for the fight, and I decided, okay, I'll do it. It's like, oh, god damn.
But yeah, like you're kind of like making yourself look like a fucking like a coward of it.
What was Duran's record? What was Duran's record?
At that time, like 80.
I
probably
no
80
fucking
something.
no. Right now, what was his record all time?
Duran's record at that time? I don't
No,
remember.
right now. What was his final record?
100 something
like
fights.
116 wins. He won like 116 fights and lost like 19, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. Who knows? Who cares? That motherfucker.
Well, why'd you ask?
cares
Then?
about the
That motherfucker.
Why'd you ask? Why'd you ask if you don't care, man? What the fuck? What's the matter?
Because
with you,
it's
Pete?
irrelevant. Because to work,
No, because I think he's making a point. That like
Just
he had a
let
lot
those
of
guys-
losses.
What's the matter with you, Pete? What's the matter with you, Pete? What are you trying to do to me, huh?
Pete.
I'm saying that, man. The reason the guy's sleeping on the bench is because he wasn't as good of a fighter. I mean, he wasn't as good of a fighter.
Yeah, I get your point. Yeah.
You could do all the coke you want. If you're a good fighter, they'll pay you to fight.
Rare
That's a
hip
good
hop in
point.
the chat. I know it's you, Jason Bourne. I know it's you. You are a fucking very sad little man. I mean, there's just no
Wow, the rivalry
limits to what
continues,
you
huh?
scraped.
Nah, Stu, that's
What
not
did Jason Bourne?
That's not Jason Bourne. That's not Jason Bourne. And just ignore the guy. But hey, I wanted to. You know what? With Sugar Ray
Yeah,
Leonard.
but how do you know that's not Jason Bourne?
Oh, trust me, I got my content. I got my sources. But I wanted to say something about Sugar Ray Leonard. If he was around right now, like let's say he was active, he was a 25-year-old, 24-year-old, whatever, Sugar Ray Leonard, he would be hated by 50% of the boxing scene, right? Because just look at what people say about Canelo. Oh, he calls the shots, he puts this boxing rehydration clause, blah, 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 which I'm not saying it's not true. What I'm saying is people have the impression that Canelo calls all the shots and puts everything in his favor.
Sugar Ray
That's
Leonard.
too strong now. That's two different situations.
I know,
Sugar Ray Leonard,
but Pete,
Duran came in unprepared. Duran was unprepared in
listen
that
to me,
fight.
listen
That's
to me.
not Sugar Ray's
Listen
fault.
to me. This is what remember, Pete. Remember what Leonard did to Hagler. He teased him, making him think the big money fight that Hagler always wanted was going to be there, dangled it in front of him like a nice big pair of juicy tits, and then he calls a press conference in front of everybody in the ring, and then he goes in there. People think he's going to announce the fight. He says, "That fight's never going to happen." And it just crushed. That was the one. And then when he does fight Hagler, after Hagler goes through that war with Mugabe, then he goes, okay, we're going to fight in a big ass ring, 12 rounds instead of 15. So that's what I'm saying, Pete. Those are the type of things, the advantage he has. So what I'm saying is if he was fighting now, Leonard, people would hate the guy. You would see people discrediting everything he did. Tommy Hearns, oh, well, he was getting beat by Tommy Hearns.
BDA,
But would
after
you
a
though?
6-year layoff.
No, I wouldn't.
I mean, after a 6-year layoff, the least you can give the guys a bigger ring to survive. I mean, let's be real. No one thought he. No.
Well,
no one
he had
thought he was going
fights, before that.
To be honest with you, I watched that live as a young kid. I'm not going to pretend I knew how to score fights when I was a youngster, but it looked like Hagler won the fight to me. Do you know what I mean?
Come on.
Like,
First of all,
yeah, I agree with you on that. Hagler did win the fight.
First of all, Stu, in 1987, be honest, you were 45 years old back then, so stop.
Yeah,
trying to
he
say
was
when I
like
was
you was a grown man. What do you mean you couldn't score fights back then?
I was 180 years old.
Granted, it
180
was
years old. No, yeah, I mean, like I said, yeah, I'll go back to the Burt Sugar days as a teenager. But look,
I remember that fight. That's one of the fights I remember clearly as a youngster. I remember that fight. My dad let me stay up to watch that fight because, like I said, I started to watch boxing early. I mean, when a lot of these little kids were getting like Luke Skywalker figures, I was getting fucking boxing gloves and stuff and pads. I just loved punching things. I mean, I remember I broke my fucking uncle's nose with these boxing gloves that I had as a kid. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, what's the matter with you, man?
Well, I just went and smacked him straight in the nose. You do as a kid, don't you? And I fucking broke it. But I just loved boxing from an early age. In '87, I was 10 years old. So I remember staying up for that fight, and it was a great occasion.
So you're 67 now.
Huh?
So you're 67 years old now.
I'm about a year older than you, I think, BDA. 67.
All right, well, listen. Hey, by the way, I wanted to ask Pete something because Gonzalo and Jay were talking on the Discord about boxing fights, and we were talking about that with Jay for a while. You, Pete, you said who was it? Your uncle or grandfather had a bar, and he had all these fights recorded from short circuit fights.
My ex-girlfriend's father owned a bar down in Hollywood, Florida. We got to talking one day about boxing, and we're eating dinner, and afterwards he said, "Man, I got a bunch of fucking VHS tapes because he bought the closed circuit fights. You know, he paid for them to show them in the bar. I guess it was on one of the big satellite dishes, those big satellite dishes." And he goes, "I got all these VHS tapes," and I said, "Well, no shit, huh?" So we're talking about it, and then for Christmas I got him one of those, those converters that turns them into DVD. That converts it over, and I gave it to him for Christmas so he could, put them all on disc. And he gave me a binder with all of them that he made. It just reminded me of it when Jay was talking about having some library. I don't know which fights were on the undercards of those fights though, because I was reading the list on the discs, and it just said Ali Burbick. I don't know, but I don't know which fights were on the undercards. I told Jay if he looks up and he wants any of them, I'll just FedEx them to him. He could, put them on digital.
Damn,
that's how we're storing them.
Some guy was putting up fights on YouTube, and there were old fights from the 80s with early 80s with commercials and everything. So this motherfucker actually was recording them. That was back in the 80s. Yeah, in the 80s. Like,
that's what these are, yeah.
Not Stu. Jimmy was saying that back in the 70s, late 70s, he knew a guy who had a VCR, but that was like high tech back in the day, man. And so whoever was recording fights back in the early 80s, man, shout out to you, man. You were ahead of the curve there. But yeah, I'm interested in those old VHS. I got my VHS tapes, but I lost the CD because I got a cable where you connect your VCR to your computer. I need to install some sort of software. It doesn't fucking capture the video anymore. So, but I
had to do that. I had to do that for our company here. I had a bunch of media stuff that you can't fucking find a VCR right now. Go online and try to buy a VCR. You can't fucking find it. You can't buy one. There's one of them for sale on Amazon. They're $800. A VCR is $800 right now. The VHS player. I swear to God. I swear to God. I had to buy one off some crackhead in St. Petersburg. I had to drive an hour away at about 10:30 at night and buy one off some fucking crackhead who had one on Craigslist.
Hey, I sold it to you at a good price. Wait a minute, I gave you a good price. What are you talking about?
This guy came out with a cowboy hat on.
Pete needed a VHS.
What was that, Stu?
Pete needed that VHS to play his fucking old school homemade porn vids.
Yeah, Debbie Does Dallas.
It was always gonna end up with porn. Come on, we all knew it. But look, I'm looking on I'm eBay, but it's eBay Canada, so take it with a grain of salt.
Okay.
Look at this. One VCR Magnavox CMW 405 Head 4 Mono VCR, 149 buckaroos. That's not a bad deal. Look, you got a Toshiba here. I used to use one of these back in the day, $79.99. These are good deals, man. What are you talking about?
Man, I used to have.
You think that you could go somewhere and buy one? Man. Like somewhere right now, you can go buy a DVD player for fucking $20 at Walmart, and they have these little tiny ass. I'm saying, like, if you needed one, wouldn't you think you could go somewhere and cash and carry buy one?
No, because you're overestimating that nobody uses them anymore. I mean, nobody.
I know that. That's what I'm saying. Don't you think they'd be like some warehouse that would? I mean, I couldn't find one.
That's insane.
I didn't have time to order it. I needed it.
I got you. Yeah,
But if you want the cable, I'm done with it. So if you want the converter thing, I'll send it to you. I'm done with all that
no,
shit.
no, thanks, man. I got the cable. I just need to install the CD, the software to actually capture the video itself. Look at this. This is all the rage too. People are actually buying. They buy old consoles, video game consoles, and the VCRs, and then they buy the CRT monitor. Because some people say that it actually, fuck, I forget what the explanation was, but some people actually prefer. Look, if you're watching fights on a CRT monitor, maybe there's something appealing to it, but it doesn't look as crisp as a. I mean, the colors don't look as crisp, but I do agree that there's something about the CRT monitor that's kind of sexual in a way. Maybe I'm wrong. What do you guys think?
Sexual.
I can remember watching the old pirate VHSs. I mean, it was like you'd be better off filming with a potato. I mean, it's fucking terrible.
Nothing sexual about it. The thing is, remember in Raging Bull when he's trying to adjust the antenna to get a reception? Anything? Yeah, I got some. This looks like something. Your fat stomach's in the way.
Hey, what about these? Hold on. Cable box. Yeah, the old cable boxes that you would. How many fights did I watch on these motherfuckers, man? Hold on. Let me find the.
Man, I remember I used to have what we used to call was the box. Once you had the box connected to your cable box, you get all the channels for free.
The premium ones. Yeah, I'm gonna share them here with you guys on Discord. Look at that. That brings back memories. No more having to watch distorted porn on the screen. Actually watching the big fight. Because there were some fights back in the 90s. There were fights that didn't deserve to be on pay-per-view, man.
That's it.
There were some fights that did not deserve to be on pay-per-view, man. And this saved me a lot of money, man. Back in the day.
The cheat cards for the satellite, for the DirecTV dishes.
Oh yeah, those too. I never got into those, but I knew a whole bunch of Italians and Greeks. That's the thing here in the Italians and the Greeks, that they know how to steal the cable. Absolutely. Well, actually now.
Do you remember how they used to cut your cable off? Do you guys remember how they used to do that? I remember.
They come out to your house and cut that shit off.
They go to your building or your house and disconnect.
Yo,
I recognize how to climb back up there and fucking rig it again.
Yeah, exactly.
You gotta make sure you don't
recognize how he has little spiked boots on down there when the guy was up there. When the guy was getting down, recognize like, all right, you done? Come on.
Virtuoso.
Like an hour.
Virtuoso, what'd you say?
No, I mean it's like once they show up, you gotta hide that shit.
Yeah, you had to hide that shit, man. But you know what? It's interesting, man. Back in when, like Pete mentioned those satellite and all that, the card. When they shut that down and they came out then with the digital cable, and apparently I remember reading the forums and people were like, "Nah, man, digital cable. There's nothing you can do to pirate that." And I was like, "Fuck." But then they came out with this. Well, I'm not gonna tell. I think most people already know what I'm talking about, but it's through the internet, and man, that changed that game. So it just goes to show you
there's always a way for criminals to figure it out, man.
That's right. It's like Black Magic. It's like Mr. Black Magic himself in that movie, Sexy Beast, when he says they're talking about robbing a bank, and he goes, "If there's a will, and there is a fucking will, there is a way." So it goes the same thing with fucking bank robberies, with cable, whatever, man. Although, recognize, do you still pay for those outrageous fees that you mentioned years ago on this show about for the cable?
Oh, my kid, yeah. You see, here's the thing, right? Like, so I got a pretty big size family, so like everybody wants their fucking cable in their room.
Right.
So that was something that I was like, I'm trying to be a nice guy. I want to make these little fucking kids happy and give them some little cable in their room.
Yeah.
So yeah,
try cutting the cord. Try cutting the cord with little kids in the house. It'd be a riot. You'd be a fucking. You'd drive yourself.
You know what's funny is that now I'm starting to realize these kids don't even watch TV. They're like on their, they're more like on the iPad or whatever. They don't even watch half the channel. They're like me. Like basically, I told you, right? What did I tell you? Like I watch like 1 or 2 sports channels on my. If I turn on my TV, it's always on MLB or the NFL Network. That's it. It's either on one of those two.
Because it's right there in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you could get that shit on an app if you had to. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, if I wanted to. But like if I'm in the house and I'm like charging my phone and I'm like, just doing something in the house, I just turn on the TV and it's always on either one of those 2 channels.
Yeah, man.
You don't stare at that bill; it gets paid automatically, and then once in a while you look at it, and you're like, $200 fucking.
Yeah,
So
man,
that's
but that's
bullshit.
Okay, you know what I pay? You know what I pay? I'm almost embarrassed to say this. $275 a month.
Yeah.
oh, you shouldn't
I
have to
might
be on
too.
that.
For all I know, it might be 270 now. I haven't looked at. I haven't bitched. I haven't looked at it since the last time I bitched about it. But like you said, you want an extra box. You know, the point of the matter though is that go for 270. Go find something on TV right now. Flip through that fucking guide. You got to search, and maybe there's some old ass movie that you could see anywhere that you'll wind up watching.
Yeah, and then you
It is
have
what it
Hey,
is.
you guys were you
God,
you guys remember when the mobile cell phones came out? I would get bills like for $400 because it was on roaming, and I don't know if the phone companies were just trying to figure it out. And I think they thought that it was okay to charge people overwhelmingly because in the military, I saw other guys getting them cell phone fees. It was crazy.
jeez,
That was
Louise.
fucking outrageous. Did it ever happen to you guys?
No, but I've
Yeah,
heard
you had
of.
great signal. You had great signal though. When you had to pay by the minute, you had great signal.
Hey, man, listen.
In the beginning, when they came out, did it ever happen to you guys?
No, it
Like
never
three
happened to
hundred,
me,
four
but I've
dollar.
heard. It never happened to me, but I heard it happened to other people, man. So yeah, that they left it on, and it's some weird shit like that. Then they would, they would go like, "Well, you can maybe pay half." Like, fuck that, I don't want to pay anything anyway. It's a whole these phone companies, man. But with what's it called?
Yeah.
With the
The roaming charges were definitely different back in the day because I remember getting bills, big monthly bills like that too. Like not that big, but $200-$300.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
man,
happened
yeah,
to me,
early.
man.
They had to pay
That's
more.
happened.
They had to fucking transact to allow you.
Yeah,
Listen,
their new hustle is
the fucking
yeah. I just want to. Oh, go
they used
ahead.
to give you the phone for free. Remember they used to just give you a fucking phone. They just give you a goddamn phone. You tell me I'm paying $1,200 for this fucking thing right now? I want to throw it across the room. It's annoying. It's a fucking toy, man. I mean, they used to give you. It was like a crack pipe. They'll give you the pipe for free. You just got to buy all these rocks. They'll charge you $400 for roaming.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
What you gonna say,
But
Virtuoso?
Yeah, it's like the phone companies now. It's like their hustle is with the data packages. Like I would buy like a gig of worth of data, and it didn't have rollover. It would basically just expire. So
Uh-huh.
basically, if you ran out of data, you basically had to buy another one within that same billing cycle.
Yeah.
Because like every billing cycle, I pay like $40 a month, real cheap. But I get it, I get it. It comes with a like 3 gigs of memory, and that shit would expire within a month.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Hey,
like so
Virtuoso,
it
I can
doesn't roll
remember a
over.
time when I used to so the package deal that I would get would be you pay like let's say $50 a month and it's like 600 minutes. But after the 600
Yeah,
minutes were done, they'll fucking charge you for every flight. So I remember one day, right? I get a phone bill. And I'm like, "Are you 300 and let's say $50? Like this must be wrong."
yeah.
Then they would actually print it out after the 6 minutes, all the phone calls you made. Damn.
That's
my
why I used
dad's
to fuck
never.
with
My
T-Mobile.
dad
They
hasn't
had
paid
the
for.
3 nights a week. Shit.
Go.
Go ahead, Virtuoso.
No, I used to fuck with T-Mobile. They had the 3 nights a weekend deal.
3 nights a week? What? 3 free weeks? Anyway,
Free
listen.
nights and weekends. Yeah, that
Free
was the
nights and week.
evolution of it. It
3
was
nights and weekends, yeah.
you paid for
Yep,
a thing of
I remember
minutes,
that too.
and then it went to unlimited during after 6 p.m. and on the weekends, but during the day, it took out of your minutes, and then it just went to unlimited. Now it's just wide open.
See that the Ryan Garcia hotline has to give me a discount like that or something because I'm getting fucking charged off the ass over here, man. Come on now. All right, listen, fellas, we're gonna have to go now. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for listening. Thanks to everybody who jumped on the panel and on the StreamYard, Discord, phone
Peace.
calls. Take it easy, fellas. Hey, by the way, before we go, shout out to you guys. Shout out to Mr. E, the Ghost of Slugger Sam, and High and Low Sports Centrum for their contributions. You guys are the best. And that's about it, fellas. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you on the next one. Take it easy. Don't forget to like and
Peace.
subscribe, motherfuckers.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Yeah, make sure you like.
That's right.